One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back. You like to get lit?
Hell yeah.
Of course you do.
I'm already lit.
Yeah.
There you are.
It's lit.
You want to get lit? Go to electricfishlights.com. They're going to light you up. They're going to light you up with these amazing lights that basically can be anything you want them to be. They use this thing called IQ technology using upcycled vinyl, and they can put it into any shape you can imagine, basically, like your favorite cartoon character or your favorite sports team.
Even a pineapple.
You see a pineapple?
Yeah, I'm looking right now at pineapple, a minion,
What?
a Pikachu, a cloud with a happy face, mushrooms, trees.
See, you could have a cloud with a
Mushroom
happy
tree.
face hanging in your house right now that changes colors and has a Bluetooth speaker as a bulb. They all come with a 12-foot cord, 12-year energy efficient, safe to leave on bulb, a hardware kit to hang the light, and when you order, you're getting 25% off when you put in the promo code NSR when you check out, and you're getting
25.
Delaware Magic. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Delaware Magic,
Magic.
a badass light. You can get lit, then you'll be lit. Your house will be lit. Everything will be lit. Go to
Everything's lit.
electricfishlights.com. Put in the promo code No Simple Road? No, NSR. Put in the
NSR.
promo code NSR. Listen to me. NSR is the promo code.
They even have Squirtle.
Yep. This episode of No Simple Road is sponsored by our friends over at
Shop Tour Bus.
Hey, Shop Tour Bus. They
They're
have
our
a lot-
friends.
Lots of stuff going on. Tell them, Mel.
Well, it's the days between.
It is.
Do you know what the days between is, Aaron?
I do.
What is it?
It's the days between Jerry's birth and the day he passed on.
That's right. And to celebrate, they are bringing us a new Scarlet t-shirt that is dope. It says strangers stopping strangers with two skeletons passing each other, doing a little handshake.
It is super
It's
cool.
super sweet.
Yeah. And they just came out with a rainbow full of sound design too. So you should go to shoptourbus.com and look at what we're talking about. These are the dopest designs out on the virtual lot. You are not going to find anything like this on a lot or off the lot, period.
These are the comfiest shirts, especially for summertime. They're like just nice
Shirts,
soft
hoodies.
cotton.
They've got stickers. They've got really beautiful merch and unique merch. That's why you want to order it, because not everybody in your hometown is going to have one of
No,
these.
and they come in these amazing all over printed boxes with one of their designs on them. You can also get a hand-designed one-of-a-kind box with a Grateful Dead lyric on the inside when you put in the notes when you check out. If you want that, they will do that too. All kinds of extras come in the box, and you get free shipping when you put in the promo code No Simple Road. All one word when you check out. Because they're part of the No Simple Road family, they love you, we love each other. They love each other. That's one of their designs. You should go check it out. ShopTourBus.com. Put in the promo code No Simple Road.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Shawn Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
Beginning?
Yeah, from the very beginning. Let's see if it's doing it now. Hey, yeah, there it goes. Hey, No Simple Road family. That was a good run through. We're back.
Practice.
It's Aaron
And Mel.
And Apple.
and Darwin.
Yeah,
Hey,
look at that.
He just looked at
Darwin's-
us like, really, man?
I'm gonna let
Don't
you.
say, just keep going.
I'm gonna pull you all behind the curtain for a moment.
Why?
We just sat here and talked for probably 10 minutes.
Riffed for about 10 to
That
12
was called
minutes
practice,
or so.
guys.
And then I looked and it wasn't recording anything, and it was fun. We were doing good too, man. I wish you guys could have heard the conversation we were just having. It
But
was a
now
lot
we're
of
going to
fun.
be more streamlined and boring.
Well,
So-
now I've done it. Yeah. Now I've done the research and we can be
You know,
analytical
this
about
week's
it.
guest on No Simple Road is
Shawn
Swain.
Yeah,
from the Kitchen Dwellers.
We don't have it together, but thank you, Shawn, for being on the show. And what an incredible conversation.
Yeah, we just got done. We saw Kitchen Dwellers at Peach, and as I said a moment ago when nobody heard me, there was a moment
I
at
heard you.
Peach. Well, they didn't. When Kitchen Dwellers were on stage with Daniel Donato, and I just got overcome with like emotion and started bawling. And that doesn't happen all the time seeing music. I mean, yes, I get emotional seeing music, but not to the point where like tears just start falling down your face. And Kitchen Dwellers have a knack of being able to transport you bodily around the cosmos. I guess that's why they call them Galaxy Grass. But
Yeah, these guys are deep. Toward like I would say that they're dirty. They bring
They're
it.
dirty.
They're dirty.
That is
like the
not a
sound.
nice.
like that.
That's
No.
not a nice compliment, Apple.
That's a total compliment, and I think they would know where that's coming from. A lot of people say that it's gritty.
Yeah.
It gets to your soul, your heart. Torin's voice just rips through shit, but it rips through shit, and it's like, but it's also like sweet and subtle, and I mean it's captivating.
It totally. I just love the adjectives like it rips through shit.
Yeah,
it's
does.
dirty and rips through shit.
Now, I want some feedback on this.
Up.
Anybody out there gets that?
No, sorry, guys.
Hey man, I totally get it, but somebody that didn't and heard you saying his voice rips through shit and it's dirty. I don't want to hear that. I'm going to need a shower.
It's like bugs, dirt, farts.
Nasty.
No, they're an incredible band.
Yeah.
They really are an incredible group of guys that are spilling with cosmic talent.
For real. And pairing them on a tour with Daniel Donato is like putting together steak and lobster.
Oh, shit. That's a good combo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're into that, or
so now I'm prepared because I already pulled this up. We didn't know before. They're going on tour, the Kitchen Dwellers, Galaxy Grass, and Daniel Donato, Cosmic Country.
That's right.
Kicking off October 5th
right
and going all the way through November 5th. So they're doing a whole month of like 20-something shows. Go and check out Kitchen Dwellers.
Think about that, right? You just said something.
I did not.
Apple.
Oh.
They're going on from the 5th to the 5th.
Yeah.
And doing 20 shows. That's a freaking month.
And that's very few days off.
Very few days off at all.
Well, that's a couple days off a week.
Okay.
22
days.
Oh,
wow.
With 31 days in between.
Yeah, that's 8 days off.
Talk about hard
gnarly.
motherfucking working men.
Yeah, and that's like...
Now they're doing a Halloween show in Columbus, Ohio.
Fun.
That's the part that... as fans that we don't think about of like we see them walk on stage and they look all fresh and ready to go and they blow the doors off the place and then they disappear. What we don't think about as fans is like they slept on couches or in a shitty motel or on somebody's
Even
floor.
Even if they slept in a fucking Ritz-Carlton, they still only did it for about 4 to 6 hours.
They drove however many hours. They
You know?
ate at a gas station or a Denny's and didn't get much sleep and, God help them if they're partying too.
And then they tear the mother effing roof off of any venue that they
it's like
play.
Superheroes.
They always do. Either of you, I never have. I've never heard anybody say they saw Kitchen Dwellers and it was like, okay.
No.
That it was pretty good that night. They always bring it. Like when we saw them at Peach Festival, dressed head to toe in, long pants, long shirt. And Tori was like, damn, this is kind of hot for some boys from Montana.
Yeah. Well,
and they killed it.
They really did.
If you're already a Kitchen Dwellers fan, we did have Max Davies on the show a while back, so you can go listen to that, and you can listen to this one with Shawn, and then I want you all to beam cosmic shots of lightning and energy into Torin's dreads so that he will come on No Simple Road and hang out with us too.
Yeah, and Joe, and don't leave Joe out.
Joe too.
I think they both want to be on the
band.
show. I love how, like with Shawn, we got him in such a unique time. He was driving with his girl to go pick up his dog and go get some training. And like some of those, and they had just gotten off of a tour.
Yeah.
And some of those times are the best times because like your adrenaline is actually, back to a normal level. You've just accomplished a bunch of shows. And now you can actually kind of like sit down and enjoy your cup of tea type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love as opposed to like in a festival, kind of like a fast time watching kind of crazy scene, which I love. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying like in comparison, it's nice to like really get to know the people that we're really into.
Yeah.
And so I'll wait for Torin. I would love to wait for a nice long, maybe interview in person or,
and look, Joe,
at home.
If you're listening, man, doors open anytime you want to come on the show. I would rather Joe come on first so that we can taunt Torin that we've had everybody else on.
And I will take it any way I can get it. How about that?
That's cool. The one thing that the Kitchen Dwellers have taught me is that a bluegrass band can be as psychedelic as anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
That set that they did at String Summit on the Kinfolk stage late night was some of the most psychedelic shit I have ever seen.
Is it my imagination or did they frickin' do Regulators? Did they do regulators? They did some.
You're asking the wrong guy. I barely
Mal?
remember
I can't
that
remember
I talked
it was
to-
late
to
night,
Shawn.
Yeah.
and they were Thursday night from 1:30 till 3 in the morning, and we were out there partying for the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. We saw the whole thing, and I just can't remember which song it was, but like I thought it was Regulators, and like
I remember
at first
singing
I couldn't-
Regulators at one point.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I
if it
couldn't
was
believe
them.
that I was singing that at that
At a
festival.
bluegrass festival.
And I didn't realize it. You know, you hear the song in the background, you start singing like, and you're like, oh shit, that's the freaking Regulators? Wait, it's the Kitchen Dwellers? Like, it was bizarre in the best way ever.
I
and
felt
I don't know
like-
if it was Regulators, whatever song it was. Y'all know which one it was if you were there.
Yeah, mount up.
I
Mound
felt
up.
like when that set was over, like, you know how like in a silly, shitty cartoon, like the stage would lift off and there'd be fire coming from under it, like would be going up
It
into the
just
sky.
takes off.
Like I felt like when their set was over, the stage had just landed and dust would come up and there was like they made it levitate or whatever. Like
I feel like they're the mic droppers. They get on, tear shit up, and then boom,
Yeah.
done. Like that. That's the kind of energy that they come. Like that. We can't do anything more, you guys.
and if
There's
you're not hip to the Kitchen Dwellers train already, like hop on board.
Yeah, you need to get in the kitchen quick.
Yeah.
This one too was awesome. I think like the Cosmos helped with this one because it was spotty at first of whether we were going to be able to do this interview with Shawn because he's driving.
Oh yeah, that's
and he's
right.
heading up into the mountains in Montana.
Yeah, so
And we
bear
had
with
to
us.
we had to drop the video and do audio only, and it was dicey a few times, but it happened, and we had a great interview. And this is all it's Shawn driving up into the mountains to go get his dog, and like what a serene thing to be heading towards.
Well,
and then have a great conversation with him.
let's get him on the Dweller train. Let's get him to the interview, and then remember everybody to hang out after the conversation
to see what's up
to go,
with us.
play with No Simple
You're
Road.
going to hear Shawn, and then you're going to hear us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Sup?
So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at No Simple Road. I guess that's pretty much
Yeah.
all the social media
No,
platforms.
it's not TikTok.
Oh, that's true. Go to www.nosimpleroad.com. You can find No Simple Road merch there. You can sign up for a tarot reading with Mel and I, a 1-hour tarot reading with the Grateful Dead tarot deck. You will get, like I said, a 1-hour tarot reading. You'll get a personalized playlist based on the cards that you pulled. You will get an audio file of your reading so you don't forget what happened, because the minute that we stop the Zoom call, you're going to start forgetting like a dream.
And
And every
you
time you
will
try and
get-
remember it, it's going to disappear even more. What?
No, I just let you finish talking.
Okay. And then also, you will get a synopsis email of the tarot reading that you got. And then also, I did something new on nosimpleroad.com. If you were at Peach or Northwest String Summit and you got your picture taken by Apple or I, go to nosimpleroad.com, go to the top, click on pictures, and scroll down. There are galleries up of the pictures that we took at Northwest String Summit and Peach. So you may see yourself on the No Simple Road website. Check that out.
Hell yeah, it's fun taking the
Woo.
dope pictures.
Yeah. And we did have a lot of people asking us like, hey, where can I see this? And we were like, go to nosimpleroad.com. And I hadn't been doing it. And
When I know everybody, like especially Peach, almost everybody I took a picture of, I handed a sticker to, so they would know where to go and told them about it.
Cool.
So I hope you find your picture.
we kept our word. And then tell us about the tepid line, Mel.
The tepid line is one of those things that you want to do when you are having a great time and you have nobody around to tell. And you're like, holy shit, I need to tell somebody that I just freaking won the lottery. You call up 971-808-1524 and you have 3 minutes to tell us your good news. And you'd be like, oh my God, I just freaking got into law school. Hell yeah. Oh my God, I'm freaking pregnant. Whoop-de-whoop. Or, oh my God, I'm freaking moving out. So,
Or you could even call and go, what's your guy's favorite donut? Go.
well, I'm going to try to like point you a direction so you guys can know what to do. Just give us a call and have fun with us.
Or ask a
My-
question.
my
So
favorite,
971-808-1524, and then you can.
go whoop-de-woo. I was going to say, my favorite part of that is Mel added in the whoop-de-woo. Whatever you do, end it with the whoop-de-woo.
Yeah.
Hell
Next person
yeah.
that calls, got to do a whoop-de-whoop.
If you do a whoop-de-woo, I'm going to send you a present. It's
Oh,
going to be
shit.
small.
Oh.
It's small and cute, but I'm going to send you a present if you do a whoop-de-woo. So there's 2 points to that. You got to say whoop-de-woo, and then you got to give me your info so I can send you something
All right,
cool.
there it
Small and
is.
cute's my favorite. That's
Yep,
dope.
small and cute
Also,
for being sweet.
if you want to be small and cute, you can go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. Look,
Wait, you can also be big and cute too.
yeah,
to
you can do
this.
that. You could be as large as you want
Yeah,
and cute.
you don't got to be small.
I was just talking to, who was I talking to about patrons? My son, actually, yesterday, and telling him about how like Bear was a patron for the Grateful Dead. And he was like, wait, what? He just like gave them money so they could do their thing? And I was like, yeah, he believed in what they were doing and knew that it was
Supported
important.
it.
And he had the money and he helped them out. And my son was like, wow, that's cool. And I was telling him how like back in the day, like Leonardo da Vinci had patrons that would pay him so he could do his art and invent and stuff. And the modern form of that is Patreon.
Well, one of the modern forms.
And look, it doesn't have to be $1 million. It can be. That'd be great.
You know,
we wouldn't turn that down.
I was really impressed when I wasn't here for the last intro. There was 3 new Patreon subscribers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, you guys, listen to
And
that.
one of them was named Aaron.
We got an Aaron. Wasn't there a Cody in there too?
I think so.
There was an Aaron and a Cody. I didn't catch all the names,
Alan?
but all right. Aaron, Cody, and Alan. Thanks again, because I wasn't here to properly thank you for heeding the call and answering the call. A buck. Who freaking cares about a buck? And I have literally seen people not take change if it was like just a buck. I've seen that happen. So sometimes people don't even care about a buck. You know who
We do.
cares? We do. We care about bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Look,
those bucks add up
They
quickly.
do.
and here's the thing, man. Like, I'm going to give you a little insight into my personal life right now. Not that you
gosh.
don't already have that, but you know what? Fuck it. This is our show. We can do whatever I want.
Don't be getting too insightful.
Well, I work
Too late.
I work a day job for corporate America that has increasingly been encroaching on my creative energy and talent. And like, for real, it's not, I'm not even kidding. Like, that thing interferes with me being able to fully give myself to No Simple Road. Now, on the flip side of that, it has enabled me to live the life that I live and pay my bills and all that stuff. But here's my point. We have been working from home for the bulk of the pandemic, and we were all told that we would be working from home for forever. That was it. We're going to be working from home, blah, blah, blah. Well, we had a nice meeting this week and found out that we all need to go back to the office 3 days a week, mandatory. And I really feel like now is the time I need to start figuring things out, like for real. And it's decision-making time. And I can't do it without your guys' help. Like, straight up. When you do a podcast and you're trying to make a business out of it, there really is no other way to make money other than sponsorships or having patrons. And it just comes
Unless
down
somebody
to that.
comes and gives you a big fat check and says, do what you want.
Right.
Go for it.
I'm
Open to that.
yeah,
as
I'm
well.
open to that too. I wouldn't shy away. But my point is, I really need your help. We really need your help. It's crunch time for us. And you guys know how everything is more expensive and all that. Look, we're just asking for $1 a month from a bunch of you.
Actually, I'm not just asking for $1. I'm asking for whatever you want to give. $1 is a great way to start. And Aaron's speech is great and all, but you guys all know everything out there costs something. Yeah, an ice cream cone, a latte, a pair of shoes. The only thing we don't pay for, which is kind of sad, is like we rent music. We don't even barely buy albums anymore. And we'll buy concert tickets and like merch like that. But like the actual product that musicians and people, creators are putting out don't really get too much money.
Yeah,
It doesn't really get monetized that well. And so we appeal to our listeners, especially our regular listeners, to help us change that up, help us start to get paid for our creativity and our craft and our discipline. We're doing this 4 times a month and sometimes more. And then we're going out and filming stuff. And so that's all. That's what Aaron's trying to say.
Well,
no sob story. Just like
think about
the
about
expenses.
This. Yeah. Any other business where somebody's creating something every week, they're getting paid for that.
Well,
If you're in a donut shop and you're making donuts every morning, you're not giving those donuts away for free.
No, but if you decide to quit the donut shop and make your own donuts, nobody's paying you for those donuts unless you sell them.
Right. And this kind of thing is the only thing where you are giving it away for free and hoping that you are supported on the back end. And look, the No Simple Road family is fucking dope. And I know that you guys hear me and feel what we're saying. And these Patreon wraps have been getting a little longer lately. And the reason is because things are heavy. And I'm just being honest with you guys. So, you know, that's what that's all about. So if you're down to throw in $1 a month to help us get towards where we need to be, or 10 or 50, or if you want to write a fucking $500,000 check, I'm cool with that too. Go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. Boom.
Or throw in a cute number that's sacred to you. We have several Patreon subscribers that just came up with a number that means something.
Yeah, 777 or 1111 or 2022.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So, yeah, that's the Patreon thing. Also, if you want to do something for us that doesn't cost any money, you can go on the podcast app that you're listening to us on and leave us a review.
Yep, we got no new review on Apple Podcasts this week, but we did have that dope one last week.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and people, you're stepping it up. We got 3 in July, and now we are here in August. So let's blow August up.
Hey,
blow it up.
If any of you are listening to No Simple Road on Podchaser, by any chance, leave us a review on there. We have one listener, I know for sure, that wrote us a really beautiful review on there. And thank you for that, by the way. I saw it. And yeah, if you're listening on Podchaser, leave us a review. That helps us get into their algorithm too. So that's it. And
are you able to leave reviews on Spotify?
I don't think so. I don't think Spotify has a review thing, but I'm just talking shit because I don't really know. I'm just guessing.
Well, it allows you to rate it.
It would be us. We would be talking about it more if it did.
That's what's a true. Everybody's got their own platforms. They listen to stuff. And if you don't use another one, you're not that familiar with it.
Right.
So whatever you're listening to us on, if you're able to leave a review,
do it.
Yeah. If not, send in an email or, call that tepid line. There's a lot of ways to communicate with us.
That tepid line is definitely a fun way to communicate.
Right. That's the business. Darwin's growling. It's time to wrap it up and get you to the interview. And so, yeah, remember, hang out afterwards with us. It's fun. Darwin will probably still be growling. Without further ado.
I wonder if that's going to come through.
What, Darwin growling?
Yeah, I almost want to take the mic and
There's more ado. Sorry.
There's more ado?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was Darwin
broke into my
entertaining.
No more ado.
Oh, okay.
Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
Shawn Swain
from
the Kitchen Dwellers.
you gonna say? Ain't this a test for your convictions? Like a dead man without a grave. Can't you feel the pressure rising? Anger percolating underground. Fell by legions as they crawled up clear from hell just to drag me down. Oh, Sundown, let me go where the hourglass is running slow. It's high time we cut and run. Seconds on the wind, my time oh, Sundown, let me go where the hourglass is running slow. It's high time we cut and run. Seconds on the wind, my time
Oh,
to have a chat.
This is cool because it's old school way.
And Shawn, we're at home, man. It's, no problem. I'm Aaron, by the way.
Cool. It's great to chat with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And then you got Apple here also.
And my name is Mel. Thanks again, Shawn, taking your time.
Awesome.
Where
Thank you guys.
where are you traveling, Shawn? Where are you at right now?
I'm in Montana, so we just finished up our 6 weeks tour, basically, with a 3-night run at home at our favorite venue called Pine Creek Lodge. And now me and my girlfriend are headed to northern Montana to spend some time working with some bird dogs and stuff up there that I like to do in my time when I'm not doing music stuff.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So what kind of bird dogs?
We have an English pointer named Kestrel. She's 17 months old right now, about, and she's been up at this camp with her at her origin point with her breeder for the last month or so, and so I'm going up there for a few days to see how her training is coming along, and also get some training of my own from this guy Doug, who her breeder is. And interesting story about him. He's actually a dear friend and childhood best friend of Andy Dunnigan's father from the Little Smokies.
Okay.
It's a really wild connection. I actually didn't know about this until I went and actually got one of his dogs. And it was a really cool
Oh, wow.
connection in the small world, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you never know. You just never know, especially in this scene. Like, it's pretty tight knit. That's something that we learned pretty early on, is that like everybody knows everybody, and you're not going to travel very far before you start running into the same people over and over again, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone once told me that, you're only like 7 degrees of separation from anybody on the planet. So
no,
it really is.
shit. We're going to be seeing you pretty soon at you guys are playing Peach?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's, probably our 3rd or 4th time there now. I love that one.
What's to you, man? What's special about Peach as like opposed to other festivals?
Peach, it's huge, but it doesn't feel bogged down like a lot of other larger festivals do. And I think a lot of that has to do with the festival grounds is just like unreal. And then the names that are always on the billing, it's kind of hard to match, I would say, in terms of another large festival. It in setting and acts and just it's run very smoothly and professionally. And I think over the years of all of us going to so many festivals, that can be something that's very refreshing when either attending or working at festivals, when things are actually running and you're like, this is happening. And Peach is like that. It always feels, the energy is always good and everyone's always happy to be there. And when the crew's happy, usually the bands are happy and then the audience is happy.
Yeah. It's our first time. We got invited to podcast from there. And,
Awesome.
So we're going not knowing what to expect. And that's cool to know. I mean, just from my like limited, interaction with the people that are running the festival, it's fucking, like you said, man, pretty professional. They've got it all handled.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that.
And they have to.
Yeah.
It's 35,000 people or something like that. But, you'll never feel like you're at a festival that big because at nowhere in the grounds can you see or hear the other stages.
Oh, wow.
Going on
Really?
from the one you're at. It seems, maybe a little bit on the Grove stage, but there's the main stage, and that's a 30,000 person concert bowl. And then the other main stage is like, it's a ski hill, so it's on like a different lift entirely, and it really spreads things out. It feels cool. You're never too packed.
So you like to get to and from the different stages, you got to like take a ski lift?
Oh no, you can walk between it, but like in the winter they would be running those.
Okay, I got you.
It's an easy. You do a fair amount of walking. It's an uphill endeavor at times, that's for sure.
Spun trying to walk up a ski hill.
So far, though, we heard nothing but good things other than everybody warned that they're like, yeah, you really don't want to go in the water park.
Yeah, the water park, I've never, it looks a little, it'd be for the more adventurous soul, I'd say.
Yeah, it sounds like it turns into like a bath station for wooks, kind of, is what we were told by somebody else.
Yeah, very much so. Like probably similar to the knee-deep surf at Fish, Mexico. It gets a little cloudy after a few days.
little dicey. And so, who on the bill at Peach, man? Who are you excited to see?
Gosh, I have to take a look at the billing right now because we're there for one day, and there was somebody on that one day in particular. I'm pulling it up right now that I was really excited about, but I can't. It's not coming right to me. But we're only going to be there for Friday, and I was looking it up. Joe Russo's Almost Dead is always.
Yeah.
That's just. I kind of grew up. My parents are big Deadheads and grew up with a lot of that, and as a kid, I kind of grew tired on it, pretty fast. And obviously that changed as I grew adult. But man, his project of that was one of those first ones that really like spoke to me as a younger guy experiencing that music in a real live sense. So anytime I get a chance to see them, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Gosh, you can Steel Pulse is on that day. There's a lot of classics.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Man, what a lineup.
Yeah, J-Rad is I don't know, man. They're a thing apart. It's the level of musicians in that band is, sky high. So it just
it's the highest level quality of these jazz musicians getting to play this psychedelic country music. It's its own thing. That's for sure.
And they take the tempo to a whole nother level too. That just you can't help but dance your ass off.
Yep.
Yeah, his drumming is so driving, and so it's like that. He challenges you to not move.
Yeah, right. Give it. I dare you. So you mentioned that your parents were Deadheads. Have they? Yep. They get to see you like do your thing?
Yeah, they're pretty. They come around all the time. My dad just retired this last winter, so they've pretty much. I don't think they've been home very much. They've just kind of been driving around. And they come to a lot of shows, and I grew up in Telluride, Colorado, and my dad was he worked in the ticketing department for the Telluride Bluegrass for 20-something years. And so this year is our first year ever playing that festival here. We'll leave on Tuesday. So that's like quite a big deal for my parents. I think it's a bigger deal for my dad. Thank you. a bigger deal for him than it is for me, probably. I'm very excited. I'm pretty nervous too. It almost feels like it'll be akin to like a wedding day. Like I'm gonna have to make time for a lot of folks in my life, which will be great and tiring.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I think you got to be in pretty decent shape. Me and Aaron had a stint up there 20 something years ago. We lived up there for about 2 months.
Yeah.
And we realized really quickly, being from Las Vegas, Nevada, that 8,750 feet is no joke.
It's up there.
Yeah.
It is. So I would say now, in this last winter was the first time in my life I noticed elevation kind of affecting me when I was skiing. So I think it is starting to catch up with me. But I haven't been born up there. I think it adds a little bit of a buffer at least, because it's a lot less oxygen that high.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more powerful sun.
What an amazing place to like be born and raised. When we spent our little bit of time back there, like early 90s, we went up there and worked. We worked like cleanup after festivals. A friend got us a gig. Totally. We hung out at the Fly Me to the Moon saloon every night and just
classic.
Yeah, just bummed around the town, and it was God, so beautiful.
Yes, I remember that. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Skip ran the place.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, wow, dude. Growing up with your
he's
dad.
in Alaska these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was actually the guy who booked the Dead at Alyeska back in the day. It was the same guy who ran the Moon all through the 90s.
Okay. That makes sense. I saw Colonel Bruce Hampton, the Aquarium Rescue Unit, in Fly Me to the Moon Saloon, dude, and had no idea who I was even seeing at the time. They were like I didn't really know. And now it's like,
I mean, it's got so many of those instances have taken place at that venue. I mean, of course, like everybody knows the famous Colorado 88 recordings for Fish, and I think some of those are recorded maybe in some of the other places, and then maybe one of the other bars they played in Telluride, but a good chunk of it is at the Moon for sure.
And
for like 5 people.
Man, having your dad work at the ticketing office like that, like, you've been around bluegrass your whole life.
Yep. Yeah, I sure have, and in a more non-traditional sense, being that it was through that festival. So it kind of led me more down the jamgrass path, I'd imagine.
So can you talk to me a little bit, Shawn, about, like, for people that don't know, what's the difference between like the traditional bluegrass and the jamgrass, and like, is there beef between the two sides, or?
Right. I'm glad you asked, because it is a funny thing to talk about. And so there is quite a bit of difference. Bluegrass, as what makes something truly bluegrass is, it's confined between these very thin lines on like how you do something musically, and even down to what kind of riffs you play and how your harmonies sound. But what we've kind of found in the last 20 years or so is that there's a lot of things that are called bluegrass solely because of the instruments they contain, which is, that's fine and all, but we really have a difference of what's greater Americana and folk, and bluegrass is just very small niche. And I think that a lot of those really traditional players really hold on to a lot of those old styles very hard, and there is beef. And I think the reason they hold on to them so hard, though, is because there is almost a threatening of a heritage to be lost to the rest of the jamgrass world. And that's why I think it's important to, when you're playing bluegrass songs, and we play maybe 20% bluegrass in what we do, if that, even maybe 10%. But we've been trying in recent years to really make those bluegrass songs bluegrass, because of the realization and the understanding that what makes something bluegrass fits within a very small confine.
So,
and it's really like we're talking about music that was sung by Appalachian miners in the 1940s. It's kind of hard to. That's like it's very unique to that specific situation.
Yeah,
hard to replicate that.
Yeah, talk about niche. Like, that's as niche as you can get. Like, and to think that that's not going to evolve and change over time, I don't know. That's almost not fair. But I guess I get the I guess I get the mindset of like, hey, I don't want the tradition of my thing to change, right?
Yeah, and I think that everybody's probably experienced something like that, but I think that as we should all learn that, it's oftentimes progress isn't going the wrong direction. I still think that it's, like I said, it's important to when you're going to play a bluegrass song, do your best to play like a bluegrass song. But if you want to play a rock and roll song with a banjo like we do, that's also awesome. And
Yes.
I don't think anybody should be able to dog anybody for whatever kind of music they make with whatever kind of instrument.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not fair. I mean, I totally understand what you're saying. Like, okay, Appalachian Miners, that is a small
It's like that's like 7 dudes.
Yeah, they shut those mines down anyway.
Exactly.
So none of them anymore.
So the evolution of any type of music, especially bluegrass, is kind of like complementary. It's like, okay, we love these instruments, we love that sound, we love that rhythm, and now we're doing something different and fun with it.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what's allowed it to stay around as long as it had, because if it hadn't evolved, we wouldn't be listening to it today, because like we said before, that niche, those people are gone, and we have a lot of people to thank for the progression. The Newgrass Revival guys were kind of the first guys that were like, we're gonna take this bluegrass thing and turn it into an 80s rock band.
So who's
after
considered
that-
Newgrass Revival?
That, Sam Bush, Bailiff Fleck was in that band, John Cowan, and they're kind of, the kings of the Telluride Bluegrass Festival today, because that Telluride Bluegrass Festival is one of the first, I don't know if everyone ever knows that bluegrass music actually, to step back a second, was probably the first genre that really embodied the festival spirit. It was the first kind of genre around where they were having festivals.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
thank you,
yeah,
Bluegrass.
Telluride started in like 1971 or something, really far away from where the rest of all these little lawn chair events were happening in the hills of southern Indiana, basically. At Bean Blossom. They're building roads from it all the way out in Colorado, doing something different, and that kind of prompted these different kind of players to come out and do it, kind of guys that were at the edge of traditionalism, but also kind of like to get a little weird, like John Hartford and, like I said, Sam Bush and Bailiff Fleck, these people that were very schooled and educated in the traditions, but had the open mind to take things further. And Telluride Bluegrass has always been a place where bluegrass has not been such a strict regimen for the lineup.
Okay. So, I mean, it makes sense that you guys are playing there now.
Yeah, I mean, Tenacious D is on the lineup this year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they go all over the place. I've seen David Byrne there, I've from everybody from String Cheese to Sheryl Crow to, and traditional bluegrass like Hot Rise and stuff like that. You can see it all. It's pretty cool.
And just the backdrop of it too, man. Like those mountains, there's no place like that canyon or whatever the valley that it's in, with those mountains all around it.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, man, that's some sick shit right there. So
yeah, the San Juan Mountains are big, steep, and rocky. It provides a dramatic experience. That's for sure.
yeah. So Shawn, on the new album, you mentioned like when you guys are playing bluegrass, you're trying to stick to the bluegrass. On the new album,
Right.
would Wise River be considered a bluegrass song?
I would call Wise River more of a folk song. It does have a waltz bit to it. I would say the bluegrass song on the new album would be Max's song Smokestack. And that may be one of our only true, and I would think that's a true bluegrass song right there. At least I would think so.
Okay.
And and it's interesting because Max is the guy who, when he grew up, told me at one point, he was like, I'm never going to play. I wasn't there for this, but he's told me that at one point he said he would probably never play acoustic guitar. You're always going to be electric guitar guy, and now here he is, writing the only true bluegrass song.
It's funny, man. I grew up, I've been playing guitar on and off since I was 12, and like same thing, always electric, always as loud as possible. And just with this year, I can't put my acoustic down, and I'm starting to learn bluegrass.
Nice, awesome. I mean, that's just like there it is. It's just the evolution of the music right there. That's part of it, like we were just talking.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and there's as somebody that can not play very well at all, there is something to playing bluegrass music that feels vastly different than playing anything else. There's something really satisfying about picking.
Yeah, it's got a down home vibe, and that's it. You feel like you're part of, back to the tradition thing. Maybe it is feeling like you're part of some tradition, and I think that while we try to stray away from it, evolve that tradition, maybe holding on to some of those traditions is what gives us that familiarity and that joy in hearing and playing. Because it's almost like when people will be like, "Oh, I don't like bluegrass music," but really when they say that, they just haven't really listened to it. And
Yep.
most people have a really damn good time when they go see a band like that play.
I think
That's what we learned. Our bluegrass experience up till about 5 years ago was pretty much from like listening to Jerry
Old
do
and in
blue,
the Way.
yeah, Old in the Way, stuff
Yeah.
like that, and Bella Fleck, things that made it to our ears until we went to String Summit up here. We're in Portland, Oregon, and when we went to String Summit, we were like, oh my gosh, now I get how psychedelics and bluegrass go together. And oh my God, it is so fun dancing to bluegrass on any level, no matter where your mind is at or anything. We were hooked.
Absolutely. And I mean, gosh, there are some bands in our scene that can really just take it to the next level. Like somebody like I like to look at the infamous String Dusters. There's a band that can play the most traditional bluegrass that they want to, and then they'll go into it, and then they'll go into a jam, and then they will just take that to a completely elevated level and just leave you completely drawn, like leave your jaw on the floor every time you see that band play.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they started off as a very traditional. They all like traditionalists in music school, and that's how they got their start. And now it's just a whole other level. I like to consider them one of the greatest acoustic bands to ever play.
Shawn, are you self-taught, or did you go to school, or where did your beginning with? I mean, I know you were around it with the the bluegrass festival and all that, but when you actually picked up an instrument and started, going for it.
Yeah. So my parents gave me a mandolin when I was very young, probably in third grade. But I took a few lessons for a few years. But it was kind of hard to get a kid interested in that when, like, I got a Fender Squire for Christmas one time, and that pretty much took over my life until, I was 14 or 15, and I bought a bass and joined a metal band in my high school for a while. And then I didn't really pick up the mandolin much from when I was about 10 until I was about 19. And then I met these guys, and I don't really know what it was. I was always into bluegrass. I was a big fan of Yonder Mountain String Band through high school and saw them almost 100 times. It was easy to do living there in those days. And,
Right.
but I just wasn't really playing bluegrass, and I didn't really try to until I got to college. And I could have picked up, any of the instruments. I'm not sure. I think maybe just the fact that I had a mandolin was the reason that I went back to that one.
It's such a cool instrument, man. And to see somebody fucking jam out on a mandolin is unlike seeing somebody jam out on anything else, because it's so small and the sound that comes out of it is so big and moves
Some
you.
players too, like Sam Bush, that guy. Sam Bush I've seen Sam Bush stand on stage in front of 10,000 people alone with just him and his mandolin and hold that crowd locked.
That's
Which is just a crazy thing.
That's nuts, man. Yeah, I remember we went to Red Rocks to see
Green Sky
and Circles Around the Sun.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the show, Mel looks over at me and she was like, "Paul is slaying that little instrument."
You spent finding guitar.
Yeah.
It just
I love
looked
it.
like
It's
like he grabbed a little kid's instrument and was taking it to town, and it was one of
Level sound.
it was definitely next level shit, and it was something that I'll never forget. Like this big buff dude with his big old hands attacking this small instrument, but it was all heart too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was the way that he was playing, it just
very soulful player.
very
Yeah, hopping up and down like he does, and it's
Well,
like,
yeah, I would imagine, Shawn, that playing the mandolin, it would be difficult to not play that instrument with heart. I've seen you fucking get after it, man. Like,
Yeah, you got to. I think, we're really, I like to look at it, there's a lot of different ways to look at the mandolin's a lot more versatile, I'd say, than most people would think, even more so than I thought. I've come to realize that I really like to play the mandolin as a drum, which is really common in most bluegrass. But I found a lot of joy in bringing that thing, making the snare drum hit, and I'll have our sound guy run a little bit through the sub, and that's where a lot of the more people all the time, they're like, is there not a drum kit on the stage? No, that is what I'm trying to do.
You're doing it.
Hey, there's so many ways to look at it, because you can play it real light and real pretty, or you can bang on it like a drum.
Yeah, it took us a while to even figure out that there was no drum.
Yeah.
That is perfect. And I guess that's a high compliment, to you guys.
That's what mandolin should be.
Yeah. And so can you talk to me a little bit about Wise River and writing this album? Are these songs that came out of quarantine, or are these songs that you guys have been working out for a while?
A little bit of both. So I wrote 2 songs for this album, Wise River and Their Names Are the Trees. Wise River I had written several years ago. Pardon me, I'm fighting off a sneeze right now.
No, go just sneeze. I can edit anything out, man.
I'm staring at the sun, but it's not coming. We've had a really late spring, so I'm getting allergies, man. But
I'm sorry.
Wise River I wrote, I think, in 2018, actually, and I sat on it for a long time. It's Wise River is a place in Montana that sits at the confluence of the Wise and the Big Hole rivers. The Wise River and the Big Hole are both famous fly fishing rivers that don't really have enough water left in them anymore. And the beef industry in the area is pretty dried up, and the mines are all gone. So there's this melancholic vibe, but this area is incredibly beautiful, and when it's not on fire or filled with smoke, it's a fantastic place to go for a good camp out. But it kind of just always has this either or thing going on. Like, it's either hot smoky and on fire, or it's like flooding, or it's a kind of a weirder, harder spot. And it's always fascinated me that everything around us has grown so much, and Wise River has not. It probably never will.
Kind of sounds like a metaphor for the world today. It's either hot and smoky, or on fire, or fucking flooded. Everything.
Well, that's what I knew you were going to talk about in a second, but I was going to bring it up anyway because you helped pin it. That their names are the trees. Thank you for that, because that was all about the fires up here and the people lost, and we lived through that up here.
Yep, it was specifically written about the Beachy Creek fire in Oregon in 2020. And a friend of ours, a dear friend of ours, he's a ski patroller in the winter at Big Sky. He's the lead avalanche technician there. Actually, I think they call it chief avalanche technician. If he hears this, he'll be mad if I call it the wrong thing. But he's a medic for the wildland fire crews in the state of Montana all summer, and he usually does most of his deployment over in Oregon. And that night particularly, they were 15 miles from the fire line, and that fire jumped 15 miles and wiped out the town and their encampment in the night. And the story he told me was so traumatizing, even to the listeners. The fact that people had actually gone through it just really astonished me. And I tried to look up the names of the people who had died in that town, because he had told me the story that was terrible about he was in the last truck that got out before these old growth trees fell across the road. And very specifically, he remembers seeing a car with an older woman and what he assumed to be her grandson in the car. I had to know more about that. It was just so awful to hear, but I couldn't find the names of any of the people that died at the time. But what I did find was the names of all these species of trees that may not be able to they may not recover and maybe eventually become extinct because
Dude.
Yeah, those fires were terrible. It was like we went down there not long afterwards and drove through there, and it was like a different planet. The landscape.
Yeah, it looked like after a nuclear war. And here in Portland, dude, when that was going on, it was gnarly, man. Like, that was at like I don't know, we were in quarantine at that point still, and things, just the air was heavy, period, without any smoke in it. But like at noon during the summer here, you could barely see outside. It was black. The sky was deep, like a red wine color.
I heard that when this firefighter I was talking about was describing it as being like the eclipse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just like that. It was scary, man. It really did feel like the end of the world. And we actually have a acquaintance that had this like 25-acre paradise down on the Snohomish River,
McKenzie,
and lost the entire thing. Like,
which goes back like over 100 years in his family and gone.
Yeah, it's awful. And gosh, it's already going on right now. I have some friends in New Mexico that have lost everything in their little town of Mora.
Oh no!
Which is now gone. And then that started in March and April. And before I moved in with my partner Becca in Bozeman, we had a fire that actually was 3 miles outside of town and evacuated her. And it's all very real, and we're going to see a lot more of it. It's just there's no denying climate change when you live in the West.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think I used to wonder about like when shit like this is going on, and our job, your job is to entertain people. You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like as a musician you have a responsibility to call out the shit that's going on like that?
Yes and no. It's hard. I find that people are really easily divided and polarized as well right now. And sometimes I feel as though calling too much attention to certain things can be divisive in the way that we've set our own societies up. And sometimes it's like, dude, maybe we got to think of other ways to try to bring ourselves together rather than just trying to call everybody out on everything. But man, the climate change thing is like really hard. Like, because what are we going to do? It's like,
everybody's subject to it.
Yeah, and I got like, if you have children or grandkids, it's definitely on your mind, and it's
absolutely.
And like you said, living in the West is a little different. And also, like, before we lived in Portland, we lived in Las Vegas, right? And there's nothing to burn there. It's a fucking desert. So we didn't really see or have any of that. And then coming up to the Pacific Northwest, man, you quickly gain a very deep respect and connection with the wildlife and the trees that are here. You can't be here and not have that happen. And then you see this shit happening. It fucking hurts, man, and it sucks.
It really does. I think I got to a really dark point in my psyche about midsummer last year in Montana. When we were Montana last year, we probably went through our worst summer in my time there. In the 15 years I've been there, it was 100 degrees a year ago today on June 7th or June 8th.
Wow.
We had no snow in the mountains left at this point. Our runoff for our rivers had already finished, and we were headed into the dry. And we had all of our rivers shut down. You couldn't fish them because it was just wrong. And we were seeing great big rivers like the Yellowstone turn into creeks by August. And a lot of it had to do with irrigation pole and there not being enough water in the mountains. And it was absolutely heartbreaking. Just, you could walk up these spring creeks that pour into the river and see piles and piles of trout trying to just escape the hot water and get something colder. And
Yeah.
What do you
That's freaking sad.
what do you do to get out of that mindset, Shawn? When you're stuck in that shit, what do you do, man?
I don't know. I haven't really found the best way to escape that particular dread. That honestly helps a lot when it rains.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that we'd have to just continue to do our part and do what ethically is right in our environments around us. And out in Oregon right now, it's like people shouldn't be fishing for steelhead because there's not very many steelhead salmon coming back because the oceans are warming up. So we got to give them a break.
Mm-hmm.
And out in Montana right now, it's kind of the same way in the middle of summer. We shouldn't be fishing our rivers for our trout because the rivers are warming up and they're stressed. And when the river warms up and everything dies.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think that as human beings in society today, at least here in this country, we forget, like a lot of people forget, that we are actually connected to the planet and part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easy to forget when all you see is concrete and Walmart, man. You get your
Yep.
food at the grocery store, and I'm not part of that.
Yeah,
Well,
you think that's
you are,
always,
man. You know,
and you think that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I've made some life choices in the last 10 years to try to offset some of that stuff as we can. I do my, and not everybody has the ability to do it based on where they live, but I live in the plains of Montana, and we do our best to try to, if we're going to be eating meat, we're going to go get it. We're going to go get an elk. We're not going to go buy factory beef. We do our best. And we're going to try to get ducks. We're not going to get barn chickens. We try to do our best with that stuff. And some of that is highly impactful, especially for methane production in the atmosphere.
Right on.
It's hard to surpass.
Yeah.
Have you like always been outdoors kind of guy? Were you brought up like that, or is that something that you learned when you got older?
Yeah, that is definitely a product of where I grew up. Just up there in the mountains. It's just kind of it was just everybody, whether my dad shot an elk or somebody nearby did, it was everybody kind of did that rather than drive all the way down to Montrose to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And things are a little different there these days. It's a little bit more of a modern existence, but there's something for me that's important about the word, not taking is not the word I want to use, but trying to live off of the land that has given me its bed to lay my feet on as best I can.
Wow.
Man, I wish, that's fucking dope, man.
Yeah.
And hey,
Well, without also, you can take it too far. There's plenty of people, I like to say there's a million ways to be a bad hunter and only one way to be a good one.
Okay.
Shit, yeah, man, absolutely. And I think that goes for just about everything. You can take anything too far. It's all about finding balance and
Yep.
using your head.
And I think it happens on the road with road musicians. It's one of the hardest things, taking the road too far. I see some of these people right now. A friend of ours who's worked audio for us is now on the road with a bigger country artist who's been around for a long time, and I won't say who it is because I think he's running from himself because he's on the road for 118 days. And that can't be good for anybody.
Well, I think.
Well, how do you find the happy medium, Shawn? Like when you're a well-known artist and you have the opportunity to travel 180 plus days, how do you say no?
Yeah. I guess it would depend on the person. For me, Josh, I think a lot of it just where I live has provided me with so many passions that allow me to keep a balance with the road life. That that's a huge part of it. But gosh, if I lived in the middle of LA, I might never want to come off the road either.
Right. And I think that
Good point.
The pandemic did something for a lot of people, like what you're talking about. the going through all that and then dealing with yourself and not having anywhere to go to do anything. And then as soon as things are available again, I'm going to do as much as I possibly can to not have to face the shit that I've been dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we saw for the other end of the spectrum too, actually, our first tour back in the fall, the audience was ravenous and almost every show was really sold out or close to it. So I think people were on the other end of the mic stand were feeling the same. And we saw a little bit of a drop back to normal for spring.
We did.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like when any show that started to book, we bought tickets because it was, like being gone for so long, and it's such not just a happy place, but it's a place where you can work your shit out, like you're going to a concert and you got that bluegrass or whatever, the rap, anything, whatever you're into that actually lets you like get your emotion out and the frustration out. And so it's helpful, but you're right. Like it can go the other way because then you start getting crazy and wasting your money and, partying too much and
Right?
And
not addressing anything else. I mean, that's something that I actually, and it's a juxtaposition that I struggle with, yet also feel sorry with in my life. Is that I quit drinking alcohol 5 years ago.
Congratulations, man. That's not an easy thing.
Yeah, man.
It's not, but I don't praise myself for it. I still smoke all the weed in the world. I'm California sober, as they call it. But it just came down to a point where it's easy to make. The music scene has always been easily shadowed by that, and it's like it's really easy to take that and then just make excuses for yourself. Like a lot, like there's the classic stereotype. It's almost an archetype of like the troubled song. And I really bought into that for a long time with myself. And I will say, I probably, as far as songwriting goes, I've been less productive as a non-drinker, but I'm a happier individual. And I don't think that people have, but that troubled songwriter has totally become, it's almost like an American god. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
Kind of like the blues man and stuff. You got to be in that pit. You got to be in that pit to write that.
And if I'm not drinking, then I'm not going to have any material.
But so Shawn,
the cowboy singer, the blues singer, it's all
What was the turning point for you for the becoming sober?
Gosh, well, it broke down. One day I woke up and I was feeling a lot of pain in my stomach. So I went into the doctor because I thought it was like, this has to be from drinking. It turned out it was, and I had like a bread bagel seed stuck in my belly. And it was infected. It hurt real bad.
Oh, diverticulitis.
Exactly, yeah. And now it can happen again. It's like, it's a whole son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But when I knew it, I was like, well, if I had the thought that this had to be from that, then something had to be. And then I kind of tried. I maybe stopped drinking for a few days. I kind of went back into it, and really it had to come down to my bandmates and people close to me that were like, yo, like, you are kind of hating yourself. Like it's very clear that you're very unhappy because of this drinking, and you think you're drinking because you're unhappy. So I took, a month off the road and got some first half things figured out, and then I've spent the next 5 years figuring out the other half of things. So, it's around.
So this is like a relationship with sobriety then. This is not just like, I did it and I'm 5 years sober. You're still clearly like feeling the effects and working it.
I think that it would be easy to write it off as just that if I wasn't tested by it almost every day. I don't have much of a desire to ever really be a drinker again, but sometimes, you want to be able to. I think I might have drank because I was more socially awkward than I actually thought I was, and now I find myself missing that, I guess, jovial, loose personality, and that wasn't me, and I'm more private than what I wanted to lead myself to believe I was, and I think over the years, that's what I've been working on the most, is accepting that I am a little bit more introverted than I wanted to be. Like, I think I wanted to be a little bit more of a stage personality than I actually.
Oh man,
Dang.
that's a heavy realization to come to, and to, start to accept, man. When we have misconceptions about who we are that are like fundamental things like that, and then we get shown that was a misconception, that's make or break you kind of shit, man.
Man, it is like it's. I mean, it pretty much is like, if you want the bottom to land right, you have to step on it. It's something like that.
Yep. Yeah, you either have the choice to either get with it or get out. Like, it's gonna break you or it's gonna make you.
Yep. And I was at that point, and I didn't even realize it, man. And I think that I was in a suspended state of adolescence. I had dropped out of college. I didn't finish. I wasn't really doing anything, and I think I was content with making the $500 a month that the band was paying me at that time, and just kind of like being a dirtbag around Bozeman. And it eventually, I couldn't figure out why I kept having failed relationships, and why I kept getting sick all the time, and why I just wasn't feeling. So I feel something was wrong. And I was like, why do I feel like something was wrong? I was a drunk. I was a drunk.
Shit, dude.
Dang, what a freaking realization,
You're
man.
a fucking superhero, dude.
Hell
That's
yeah,
right.
Shawn.
Don't
No.
do it. I mean, I didn't come to it all on my own. I definitely had the help of those who loved me the most. For like, you gotta.
Well, think about this.
That's what
You
it
didn't
takes.
you didn't create the Wise River, but you wrote about it, right? So like, you
Correct,
deserve
yeah.
your kudos when you, like, okay, you didn't start your sobriety, but you went through with it and you're doing
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, man.
I just like
Yeah,
to stop
yeah.
that, because like sometimes when, like, we love our musicians here and we'll talk up to them and we'll like praise you for what you do, but we know you're real humans. We know that you guys have struggles too, but sometimes we need to
Yep.
know when we're doing fucking good, even if we think it's just nothing.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I think that I do think that, like, I like to be able to try to let people know, that he doesn't have to be that way. And like, and people ask me, well, how have I not relapsed yet? That's a big question I get all the time. And I think it's just, it goes back to finding out who you are and following that.
Mm.
And because the road, like we said before, the road can take you, and your stage personality can totally take you and turn you into somebody who you're not. And for me, it's my outdoor stuff at home. That's like my true north.
Right.
And I think that I loved, during when I quit drinking, my grandfather was a big time fly fisherman, and I think I grew up knowing how to do it, but I never really took a passion to it until I quit drinking. I think a lot of it came out of a necessity to do things alone.
Mm.
But spending a lot of time alone and learning such a finesse skill that some, people spend their entire lives learning how to fish like that. You learn a lot about yourself too, and how you learn and how the process on your own growth is. And it's really been good for my mental health. I know that.
It's a lot like, I would imagine it's a lot like learning to play an instrument and struggling to get through those peaks and valleys in playing.
Yep. It's in fly fishing and training dogs and playing instruments are all things that require a lot of patience. And the more frustrated you get, the worse your result will be. And that's not always easy to do. Like, progress doesn't ascend in a linear manner, no matter what we're doing. It's always important to keep that in mind too. It's easy to get frustrated. It's like, why can he play that solo that I can't? We started at the same time. Or like, why is my buddy up there catching fish and I'm not, when I taught him how to fish? But remember that everybody's journey is different. Ascension can, sometimes I take 3 or 4 steps backwards in something before I can go 5 steps forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're all filtering all this learning and shit that we're doing through our own experience. So there's no two people that are alike. So how could anybody progress at the same level? It's just doesn't even make sense.
I heard this really cool thing today. I was listening to an audiobook, and it was saying try replacing patience with understanding. And
Actually, that's wild. Somebody said that to me recently.
what? See, Shawn, I'm on that level.
Yeah, my friend Kevin, who is like my bird dog training mentor, he lives in Livingston, Montana, said that exact thing, and I was like, I have to grow my patience. And he's like, it's not about you being patient. He's like, you need to understand what the dog is doing and what you need. I'm like, wow, that's
but
yeah,
right?
understanding, not patience. It's, yeah, it hit me. I totally get it.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't know
think
why
I get it. I don't know.
No, well, no. Hey, maybe this is you and me learning it, because I just heard that today. This really awesome book called The Seat of the Soul, and it just like really kind of like stopped me from everything else in the paragraph he was saying. I was like, whoa, that's so legit, because everybody gets all frustrated and like cranky and like, fuck this. It's so easy to be impatient, but whatever. Right? Like, it's easy to be impatient, but like if you
sometimes you have to realize that every once in a while that light at the end of the tunnel is just another train coming. And you're going to have to deal with it.
You're step aside, man.
Yeah.
You get run over.
So, yeah, exactly. Sometimes it happens, and that's part of the understanding and patience thing. Is like, we've all, I think we've all been at a point where everything seems like it's going incredibly well, and you're about to step into the next point in life, and then you just get knocked back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think as I get older, when things are going well, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I've lived long enough now to be like trepidatious almost. When things are going too good, it's like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, where's the shoe? It's going to drop. And,
I know exactly what you mean. Actually, one of my buddies that I go hunting and fishing with all the time always tells me, he's like, you have an incredible ability to list off all the things that can go possibly wrong whenever something starts to go right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep us honest, man. I'm just trying not to get disappointed.
Shit, man. Oh, yeah. So, hey, Shawn, we are also going to see you at Summit.
Oh, yeah, the last one, the Swan Song.
Bro,
Yeah,
this is going
that's
to
gonna be heavy.
This is going to be some serious mojo going down.
I love to hear your thoughts on Summit. Like, do you remember your first time playing Summit?
First time we played Summit was the band contest 9 years ago. We lost.
What?
But, we were still figuring our stuff out. And I think the next year, though, we did get invited back to play on the further bus stage when they were doing that with Zane Keesey. And you get on top of the bus and kind of bounce around up there for 15 minutes. And then I think, we came back a few years later for like an 11 a.m. side stage set that we drove the whole night for. And we kind of just slowly been working up. And the last time we were there in 2019 was our first main stage set.
Aw, right
dude.
on.
And now this is going to be the final verse. It's
Yep, and we're gonna play 3 times, so we're gonna be there the whole time having a blast.
you gotta
Can't
come hang out in our camp a little bit. We're gonna have a place where we're gonna be doing interviews and stuff. So you got to come over and say hi,
Oh
man.
yeah, let's chat. Yeah, I would love to.
Well,
Aw.
it's great having you on the show. We had Max on the show before, who is an incredible
Yeah,
human
he loved it.
being.
He enjoyed it.
Well, we're going to catch up with Torin and Joe also. We're going to have a chance to see you guys at these upcoming festivals. Just thank you so much for what you do. And for me especially, thank you for the cabin sessions you guys did during quarantine.
Yeah.
That helped me so much and meant so much to me.
Good.
Yeah, that was
Thank
amazing.
you. I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you. That we were trying to do that for everybody and ourselves, and I think that everybody really had a blast watching and producing that.
Yeah.
It was definitely medicine at a time when medicine was sadly and sorely needed.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, brother. Well, if we get the chance at Peach, I hope we can say hi to you, man. And if not, we'll catch up with you at Strummit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope to see you guys at both.
All right,
yeah,
brother.
man.
Drive safe, man, and go take care of your puppy.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right,
All
man.
right.
Take
See ya,
care.
Shawn.
Later.
See ya.
was dreading last July, and I never seen it so dry. It was hard the last time I had to go, and that's one more reason why I never called before I left. Oh, I thought it would be best. I couldn't lie and didn't want you to know about the beating in my chest. Oh, it's all gone now. Some folks are just memories, and now the cinder has all burned out, and their names are the trees. On that night the wind would blow, I was asleep and dreamt about you. Radio blast took me fast from your arms, and I stared out upon the glow. Fire overtook the mountain and came racing down our side. Best make best with wherever you're at. We might not make it out alive. Oh, it's all gone now. Some folks are just memories, and now the cinder has all burned out, and their names are the trees. Looking west, it's the same as the rest. When the water's all gone, where can they go? They cry for rain to the sky to stop the pain and feed the ground so that hope can grow. Oh, it's all gone now. Some folks are just memories, and now the cinder has all burned out, and their names are the trees. Oh, it's all gone now. Some folks are just memories, and now the cinder has all burned out, and their names are the trees. And their names are the trees. And their names are the trees.
That was fucking dope. I don't even care that the call was
no,
doing what it
that's
did.
special right there. That's not sitting at home. He's they just came off his 6 weeks of touring. He's got this little break before they have to be back in Telluride on the 15th for the Telluride Festival. And he's going up into the hill. He's picking
up his little baby.
Yeah, and convening with Mother Nature and his girl going up into the hills. And
See, like, it doesn't matter what happened to you in the past or what you dealt with. What are you doing today? That's what I learned from this interview. 5 years sober, if you would have talked to him 5 years ago and into his like stupor or whatever was going on, that might have defined him. But right now, that's just an experience that he went through. And that's why you got to keep on trucking. You got to keep on going. And so what if you're not freaking fit today? You can be fit in 2 years or 3 months.
Well, and there's also like peaks and valleys in life. And like, just because you're in the valley, that I heard somebody say this recently, or I read it in a book. The valley is something you should be stoked because that means the peak is coming.
You're on your way up.
Yeah. And we're always like, well, fuck, the valley sucks. Well, yeah, it does. But that means that something awesome is about to happen. And I know that's a very rosy outlook on life.
You can train yourself to have rosy outlooks. I do that quite a well. Like, I'm not perfect at it, but you can train yourself to have rosy like outlook in shitty situations. It's true.
And valleys contain good things too to take with you to that peak.
True.
Yep.
True.
There's no, like, think about when you're looking up at something versus when you're looking down at something. Both of them have a very unique and beautiful view.
Yeah. Look, I just don't want to diminish anybody's struggle because God knows I've had mine, you know.
We all in this room have had.
And I know that when I was in the thick of it, I didn't think I was going to make it out. Like, all the love in the world, all the money in the world, all the whatever didn't matter. None of that. Like,
think about when you're in a valley. Well, think about when you're in a valley, like, there's lots of shadows there. It's meant for you to feel hopeless so you can come on up.
Yeah. And like he just said, man, it was the people that matter in my life, namely you, that pulled me out of that. You know what I mean? And
I do know
you
what you
didn't
mean.
do
I was
the
there.
work.
No.
But you gave me the hand up.
It was, I would say, if I had to sum it up, it was tough love.
Yeah.
That's really what I used with you. I loved you so much, but I was not going to be brought down by you. Yeah, you weren't going to bring me down.
The only ones that give you tough love are the ones that truly love you.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, people that are like, I love you, they're not going to give you tough love. That's a big effort. Tough
it's
love
fucking
for somebody.
hard when you just want to help somebody or you just want to, like, baby them or let them, like, you know, play in their shit for a minute.
Well, especially when you deal with a junkie or alcoholic and stuff, those are some of the hardest brick. Like you stonewall them. That's like talking to a fucking stone wall when they're not 100% into fixing themselves.
I remember when I was in the thick of my shit, I had the ability to shut myself off completely. Like, if things started getting hairy, I could shut down my emotions. And it wasn't like subconscious or in the back. It was fully conscious of, like,
shut it off.
I'm not dealing with this now. Boom, done. And, like, the world could be exploding around me and I would just
legitimately
be like, don't fucking feel it.
Yeah.
Until later. You know, and then
you'll feel it,
and then
you're stalling it, but you're gonna feel that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you're gonna not make it, and you're never gonna feel it.
Yep. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, that happens too.
Look, there is
it's good to see people get out of that spot.
Yeah,
and there's no fucking guarantees in life.
It restores your faith in humanity when you see that. You know, like, people breaking through their strife or their hardship.
What I was going to say is there's no guarantees in life, but I do know, like, from my own shit and my own struggle, that if I can make it out, that everybody can, anybody can, because I was the most hopeless lost cause on the planet and didn't give two fucks, much less one. So if I can do it, you if you're out there having a hard time, believe me, you can do it too. It just takes a little bit of a little grit, and once you find it, then you're on your way. And sometimes you need a hand up.
I say it usually takes good people, so find your good people.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't got people.
Wow, that was really fucking cool, man. I love the Kitchen Dwellers more and more and more and more. I know they're one of your favorites.
Oh yeah, I've been dying to say, like, we came, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. Like, we came back out of quarantine. The first bands we saw was Green Sky, Yonder, and the String Dusters. And I was really aching to hear Kitchen Dwellers, and those cabin sessions helped. And now I can't wait. Now we're going to get to see them at Peach and at Summit, and especially Summit. Like they said, they're going to be there the whole weekend.
Yeah, and
doing a bunch of sets. I love you guys, man.
Yeah,
thanks. You guys take it to a whole different, like, whatever you want to call it, psych grass. It's just, you guys do
Galaxy
your own
grass.
thing. Galaxy grass.
Yeah.
You guys really itch. They itch a spot in the brain that like like there's a lot of bands that itch a spot that no other band can itch.
Yep.
That's why you got to do your thing.
There's a kitchen dweller spot that only they can reach with that long back scratcher that gets in there like, oh yeah.
Yeah. And hey, everybody, the Kitchen Dwellers, we kind of talked about it a little bit. They just came out with a new album. It's called Wise River, and it's out on all the streaming platforms. And hey, you know what? Support the musicians that pour their heart and soul out to us, you guys. Go to the shows, buy the merch, buy the poster, go to their website, get the physical copies of their stuff so that these guys can put food on their table and they can keep doing what they're doing.
And so you can enjoy their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, wearing your favorite Kitchen Dwellers t-shirt or spinning their, album. That's awesome.
So, yeah, that's our PSA. And again, Shawn, thanks for hanging out with this man. When,
in between
when
driving.
you really didn't have to, you did, and I appreciate
that.
So, hey, everybody, we're going to do a word for our sponsor. See how I did that?
Yeah, you got it right.
I actually,
for our sponsor
after
from
the
us.
Last time we went through that, I thought about it while I was falling
We're
asleep.
going to talk on our sponsor's behalf.
Figured out how to say it right. And so, yeah, we're going to say a few words for our sponsor. And then we are going to be right back with Apple farting.
That was the dog.
That was not the
That was
dog.
the
You
dog.
even lifted your leg a little bit.
It's because he's right there in front of me.
I had Shawn Swain, because we were going to interview Shawn Swain a while
Yeah,
back.
we had a missed interview.
Okay, so I started one for him a while back.
He's got 2 pages.
Yeah, Shawn has a double page in the No Simple Road vault.
Well, see, now we can just continue when we get Torrin or Joe next. Then you can just like that can go back to that page.
Okay, here we go. Quick commercial, then we'll be right back with the rest of the show. This is the commercial. Ready? Go,
This is
Apple.
it.
Do it.
Is this the commercial?
This is it, Apple.
Do
All
it.
right. If you are up in the Portland area, you got to come visit me
Apple.
or
What?
one of our awesome bud tenders at our awesome sponsor, Define Premium Cannabis. We have a location in Hillsboro and one in Forest Grove. So you got to come out and visit. You got to make sure to come in and tell us that you are a listener of No Simple Road.
I'm a listener of No Simple Road.
Well, guess what, sir? You get 10% off and a free t-shirt of your choosing.
Wow, that's great.
Heck yeah. And we will get you suited with whatever you need, from your smokables, dabbables, vapables,
Blah, blah, blah.
all those things. Cannabis world is crazy.
Yeah,
But
it
we
is.
are there to help you through it. And just remember to tell us you're a listener and come take care of your head and your body and your soul, all those things.
That's right.
Define Premium Cannabis.
Cannabis.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
Why do you say that, Mel?
It's halftime, Darwin.
You say you're living your best life. Why?
Because I'm only speaking the truth. That's all there is.
What are you even talking about?
That's all I can say about my life.
Say, don't expand on it. Just leave it.
It is. It's awesome. Like there's nothing else to say. I'm living my best life. I'm speaking the truth. Those are 2 things that are synonymous with the timeline right now.
Well, speak the truth and know that was a dope conversation with Shawn.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Shawn. It was just like really deep, you know? It was really deep, and it made me think about how I live my own life. And I'm very inspired by people who are already busy but find ways of bettering themselves anyway.
Yeah.
And that is what Shawn clearly is doing. And I admire that. I admire his musicianship and his craft and dedication. And I also admire his dedication to self-betterment. And I want to jump on that train.
And he loves dogs.
I was just going to say, I admire his dog ownership, because he says something in that interview that was, though you don't hear from a lot of people. He was going to pick his dog up who was getting training, and he was going there to get training as well of how to handle his dog and what to do.
That's what I'm talking about, the betterment self. Like
that's
anyone,
a bird dog, though.
Yeah.
Well, but still, like anyone knows, if you think about it for long enough, if you're going to train something and you're not trained, you're not going to speak the same language as it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
True. Look at Mel speaking truth.
All it took was a couple hits.
I was gonna say, it'd be like sending your kid to school and being like, teach them shit, not being involved at all.
Yeah, you can't
I don't
help
care
them
what
with their
you
homework
learned.
and stuff. Like,
Wait, you were supposed to help them with the homework?
look, the kids were really smart. They didn't need us for too much.
I know. Simon would come to me for math help, and I'd be like, talk to your sister.
And they had that like, well, nowadays they have like this new math. That's like, that's not the way we did it.
I know, and you're not even adding anymore. You're like moving numbers around and shit.
Yep.
Anyway, hi everybody. We're back at the end, the beginning of the end. What's happening?
Hi.
The beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I like
We're
that.
all back together. I was gone. Apple and Aaron held it down.
It's been
But I held it down, and I actually came up with that idea of just say, I was like, why can't we just do half and half up, half down?
we did. It's been a wild month.
What were you going to say, Apple?
July.
What were you going to say?
I was just
Hold
going to
on.
say, I said it on the last one. I said it on the. It was kind of fitting for the interview with
Yeah, it was 2
Rome,
interviews.
with the Henry and Rome being split up,
And we
getting
couldn't
them
have planned
separately.
that.
No, it just happened.
But
But can we explore that for just a second and then go back into what you're trying to say?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Aaron?
let's explore.
That just happened. Really? Did it just happen, guys?
yeah,
Yeah.
it just happened.
But there's significance to it.
Oh yeah, there's significance to it.
Tell me about the significance, Mel.
The significance is why you got to call me out like that.
Because we have a podcast where we talk.
That's true.
Why are you gonna call me out about the
Well-
thing I just said?
But the significance of all of us having separate interviews, and I'm usually never away from you. We were planning to go to Summer Meltdown together.
Mhm.
So it wasn't going to happen that way. And then just at the last minute, that's how it worked out. And we had done this interview with Rome and Henry like over a month before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
what
didn't
we're
know.
talking about is last week's episode, by the way.
So sorry, let's fill you guys in. Last week's episode was incredible. The Lenore investigation with Rome Yamalov and
Yamalov.
and Henry Kaiser. And in the intro, we usually do our intros together, like
This?
like you heard earlier, and then now this. We don't usually do it
An
from
example.
Exactly. Case in point.
I.e.
Wow.
And like I said, we're usually together in the same room. We live together. We aren't very separate. And then it just happened to be on the release day that we needed to get this out.
Right.
We were separate.
Right. I get how the mechanics
Well,
of it
I was
work.
explaining it to everybody
Oh,
who
okay,
didn't
okay,
catch
all right, sorry.
the first part of the conversation.
Got it.
And so I'm talking about and bringing up the synchronicity or the significance of these seemingly meaningless things that are not meaningless because they're attention grabbers, and it's another language that's asking to be decoded. And I'm trying to bring it up and talk about it.
Well, you just said the word that I was thinking organic synchronicity. Like it didn't just happen. It did just happen, but there was significance to it, and that's the way things flow around here.
No Simple Road, like the show. Do you know what an egregore is?
Not enough to tell anybody else what it is.
An egregore is like a
cute little squirrel.
No. That's
a little ogre.
That sounded like a
It has
Pokemon
mini
character
eggs.
that would be.
You know
cute.
what? I'm gonna look up the definition of it because I don't want to fuck it up.
You don't want to throw some shit out there like
No,
you want to get it right.
How about this? How
I
about
wanna
this?
know.
Why don't you give us the definition and then give us your explanation of how you understand it?
Okay.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Egregore is an occult concept representing a certain non-physical entity that arises from the collective thoughts of a distinct group of people.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was going to say
Yeah.
No Simple Road as a show has an egregore has been created through us and the community, and the life of the show has a life of its own, and it does shit. Like
It does do shit.
it does.
Yeah.
And like
It's been
one of
doing a
the
hell of a lot of
weird things that it does is it books people for the show.
Oh, it does do that. It books. Yes, you're right, babe. It
I know.
does book itself.
It books itself. And like there was a time when I was very hands-on with the booking process of the show. Well, let me qualify that. I'm still very hands-on with the booking process.
You're
of the
just
show.
as hands-on.
I'm the one that books the show. But what I mean by that was like I was constantly trying to find guests for the show.
Yes.
I don't do that anymore.
No, it's been a lot. We used to have the month, like once a month. You'd be like, I need you guys to sit down with me and give me names, and we'd just start throwing names out.
I saw you last week. You did something, and that's why you said, like, we don't have anybody for the show. And that's why earlier, was it yesterday or today, where I was like, babe, you don't need to worry.
Yeah, when you were walking out the door yesterday, you're like leaving to go see Rising Appalachia, and you're like, and by the way, you don't have to worry about booking your show anymore. Door shut, and you left. But I already knew that. And it's a trip that, like, it books itself. And what I mean by that is, like, I have learned to sit back and wait now because stuff will come in. And then also, I've also learned when I'm scrolling through Instagram and I get that feeling in my pit of my stomach to reach out. A case in point with that is Drew Brophy.
Oh, yeah.
I've been following Drew forever, and he went through some gnarly shit, and
incredible talent.
You know, whatever has happened with him is insane. And I had always wanted to have him on the show, but I just never reached out. And I was scrolling the other day, and I got that feeling. I was like, I'm reaching out right now. And within 2 minutes, we're working on booking him for the show. Like,
super cool.
Yeah. So
you're hands on, but you're hands off.
Yeah.
Which is really a breath of fresh air.
I'm ghost riding the whip.
You're flowing.
Hell yeah, babe. Fuck yeah.
You're in the flow with it.
Hell
like,
yeah,
just,
ghost ride the whip. That's so true. I'm so proud of you.
It's
okay, so
dope.
you said I learned. How did you learn that? What made you learn that lesson? Or not even lesson, or like maybe was it even just time? Or
yeah, it was just time. For real. Like,
yeah,
I'm not being
like time doing.
That sounded like I was being sarcastic. But
No,
I'm not.
like time doing the thing, and then you just kind of.
Well, okay. What really made me learn the lesson?
Here it is.
I'm fucking hard headed, and yeah, and and I would do that thing where I would worry about, like, oh my God, we don't have guests for the show, and then I would reach out to like 15 people, and 10 of them would get back and book. And then we'd be piled up with shit. And we got so backed up with episodes a while back that it was taking like 3 months to get something out. And I was like, oh shit.
You know what that reminds me of?
I don't need to do that anymore. What?
When they cast those really big nets in the ocean and they get all this sad stuff. They get all these. Yeah,
we weren't catching dolphins in our net.
But no, you know,
all kinds of weird.
I don't have any turtles with six-pack things around them. No, it's not what. No Simple Road. Egregore didn't do that. It's not. It doesn't remind you of that. I erase that thought from your mental chalkboard.
That was sad. Started getting
sad
for a minute.
It makes me sad to think, like, we have all these great conversations and they're just stacked in like the back room with dust on them, waiting for people to hear them.
They're gonna. You know what? I've also learned with No Simple Road.
No, I'm just saying this is what I was.
You know what I've also
thought about.
Those episodes come out when they're supposed to,
and they're
come
timeless.
Out. Yep.
And that is a synchronicity that usually happens. It's at the right time. It's when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah,
but I'm not disagreeing with you.
I do remember we did have them backed up for a while. We're like, holy crap, we were doing 3-4 interviews in a weekend for a little bit there. And then it was like, oh my God, we got to put out like 2 a week to get caught up of releases.
Yeah.
So this is no, like, you said something a minute ago, like it books itself.
Mm-hmm.
No Simple Road books itself. Well, it gives us work that we now have to do.
Yeah.
And that being said, nothing else before No Simple Road was doing that to us.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying by that?
No, we didn't have anything like this in our life.
Exactly. And so
this is very specific.
Yeah.
This is very
This is as specific as you can get.
Yeah. This is about as specific as it gets right here, folks.
Well, the other thing that's amazing too, we're talking about is we've talked about this. We've been doing this for over 5 years.
That's crazy.
We've built like a reputation, which thank God has been a good one.
Yeah, thank God it's been a good one.
In the musical community
and
everything.
Go on that show.
So we have
fucking turn the punch ball. They're gonna ask you about your strains.
But and now, I mean, we've gotten to know so many managers, publicists, things like that admire us, and that's where we discover new music and new artists and stuff too.
Yeah.
They reach out to us like we're a platform that they want to be on, and that is very exciting.
You're
and,
a platform.
and very honorable. I am a platform. We're all platforms.
I said a drink on your head.
No,
You're
you
a platform.
could. Yeah, go for it.
So where I was going with that was like, okay, this is it's forcing us to make time that we used to do other things with, like work. It's like when somebody moves in, you don't want them to move in. They're just like in your house now.
Oh, like when,
They like
when
push
your
you.
mom came to stay with us?
Wow.
Something like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's forcing its way into our life. We're gonna have to give up time. Wait a minute.
No Simple Road is not forcing.
No,
we
it's not a force.
invited it over.
We did. We made it up. But you know, I'm trying. Let me finish my thought because I'm trying to finish it. Yeah, it's forcing its way in the sense that we have to do the work that it's booking itself.
Yeah.
Like there's this invisible kid
bitch,
that's
answer
like,
this email.
exactly. It's like, where's my breakfast? Like, you
Darwin,
don't even
pull
have a
your
mouth.
weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's making us change our life for it.
Or are we changing our life for it?
Both.
We're changing together.
It's like when you do it, you're not only staying there, you're participating, you know? You're like push, pull.
It's, and we'll get into a whole recap of Northwest String Summit, but
and
like
Meltdown.
Yeah, but
actually,
that's all I can say about
actually,
Meltdown.
guys, side note, I am being forced into this. They keep me tied up in the basement.
Shut up, Apple.
They only let me out when ow!
Cut his mic. Cut his mic.
God damn it.
We will get we'll get into Northwest String Summit in a couple of weeks, but check this out. Like the egregore thing that I'm talking about. There was a moment at Summit on one of the nights. I think it was the last night or second to last night, one of those, when we were all dancing at our tent and over by the Kim Folk stage, and it was all No Simple Road family.
That was Saturday night, Polyrhythmics.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
on the Kim Folk
Polyrhythmics.
stage.
I would love you to death.
And that thought of the egregore came into my head then, and I was like, you're seeing the physical manifestation of that thing moving in physical space right now. Like that entity is alive in these people that are all here dancing around, and it's allowing you to see it right now.
Those people everybody who was there, if it wasn't for No Simple Road, none of them would have knew us.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
That was one of my favorite nights in my life.
Me too.
That night. And like
I
20,
agree.
25 feet in every
Thursday
direction you walk, just dancing off. And then you think you're like dancing with a stranger and you realize it's another person you love and know that we met from the show.
know.
And here and there. And then they're all making friends. And it was that was, and then the Polyrhythmics music to it. That was such a night.
Yeah. So this thing is a trip, is the bottom line. To all
Yeah,
that.
I'm kind of tripping on it in a good and just I'm just observing it and talking about it because it's been on my mind now that like my workload is so different than it ever was, and it's so different that it's still being formed, you know, like, and now there's stuff for the show or with the show that are part of or our side project even, that are part of my duties that I need to do, where before everything was optional.
Yeah, it ain't.
Do you know what I'm
optional no
talking
more.
about?
Yeah,
Like it's serious now. It's not like, oh,
it's been like that with me for a while though. Like if I don't come
I'm
in
talking
here and
about
edit
me.
the show, like
I'm talking about my role in the
Right.
show. You know what I mean? Or in our LLC, whatever, like the bigger No Simple Road, you know? And it's really a trip. It's just kind of a cool thing to watch form.
yeah, and it's a trip to. I don't know if we talked about this already, but on shit, I don't know nights anymore at festivals. Just on one of the nights,
Well, just start saying it. Usually, me and Mel
while
can
a
figure out
band was
what-
playing, Mel and I were down on the floor, and one of our listeners came up to
Oh,
her and
Gretel.
and
And
said
it-
some really beautiful things to us. And again, I
love you,
had a
Gretel.
really like zoomed out perspective on everything that was
Chris
going
Cooch,
on.
it was first day to Thursday.
I had a real like 10,000 foot view of shit that was happening to us there. And I remember thinking, this is the family is talking to you right now. Like, this is not just Gretel. This is the thing talking to you. And it blew my mind. Like,
I didn't think about it like that.
yeah. Yeah. Like, the No Simple Road entity manifested as Gretel to give us that message from the family. Right? Like, that's not like me being heady. That's real shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's heady and real.
And
It's
that happened all
both.
weekend.
It did
I remember
happen
you
all
had
weekend.
several. There was two that I
Oh.
caught a part of where Aaron was like, I need a moment. You had to step away from everything because it was so.
I can't remember his
amazing.
name.
Robbie.
Robbie.
I remember
Robbie.
it. I'll remember it. In pink. Robbie in pink.
He was fucking such an amazing person.
No, Rob. Well, forgive me, Robbie. I know it
Or
was
Rob.
Robbie or Rob. Because I met another Robbie or Rob that day. It was
Oh.
two
Well,
Robs that I knew.
What he said too, and that was on the last day.
Yeah.
And
Right after we had taken our No Simple Road picture, which I wish he would have come in it.
And what he said was almost verbatim what Gretel had said to us
In his version.
in his version. Yeah. And it was like, I broke down crying. Like,
Mhm.
I had to like stop. We were recording, and I just like, I had to turn the shit
And weirdly, he looked like my family, didn't he?
off. Yeah, he did.
He looked like literally like one of my cousins or my uncle.
Mhm.
Like, it was very strange for him to be coming over saying the things that he was saying, because I was like, dude, you're like freaking my cousin Alex or something. Like, what?
Family.
Like, literally looked like my family. And so I was like, let me just let everybody know out there, none of my family really, only my own like children, like none of our family listens to the show.
No,
None of them.
no, my mom, nobody.
I think
My
maybe they
dad
have
does.
heard an episode
My
here or
dad
there.
dabbles here and there.
Yeah, actually, Apple's dad is the only one in our family that really knows what we do and kind of understands the concept of what is even happening.
Yeah.
And so it was strange for me to see Rob with that interaction and everything that he said, because it made me feel like my family was telling you that.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I get it.
like my
He was
uncle,
like a spokesperson
Yes.
for your blood family.
Yes,
Coming
exactly.
through with the No Simple Road family as well.
And if you were if you were
Puzzle
listening
piece.
to the beginning of the show and you heard the Patreon rap, like, there's a lot going on in my world personally with my employment and stuff. And it, like, right now is a very heavy time for everybody. Like, there's a weight out in the world right now. It's weird, and a different kind of a weight than when COVID was raging and we were all locked down. It's different than that. Everything is very heavy right now.
I feel like people are like just. Tim Carbone said it best when we talked to him last night.
Mhm.
Just
That's because it really sums it up. Apple, do me the solid. This is what Tim Carbone said.
he said this world sucks.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. he
And-
said this world sucks right now.
And the second part of what he was going to say, not that part.
Okay,
But-
that's the part I remember. It
No,
was
I
just
know
like
you do.
point blank.
But he was like, you just got to hope. Keep doing
what you're doing.
what you're
Oh.
doing and hope for the best. And hope is not my favorite word in the world. I feel like you can just, whatever, you want to replace that word with project for the best or believe for the best or whatever. But it's true. Like, things are going on that are so weird and catastrophic and strange and annoying and frustrating and angering and hurtful. But you have to keep doing what you're doing. You have to keep your smile going. You have to keep filming or doing the podcast. You've got to keep going to your job. Like you have to keep doing.
Curl up in the fetal position
Yeah,
and cry in the corner.
No,
that's the option.
Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes people do that. That is a very real reaction.
That's when you call BetterHelp.
Yes, absolutely. Or Sunset Lake CBD or
Just
Define Premium Cannabis.
Right.
No, but seriously, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and my point is like the messages that come through anytime that we get elevated lately is like, I got you, bro. And it seems to me, and I've always kind of knew this in the back of my head, and because like I said earlier, I'm hard-headed and I learned shit the hard way, is like, for me, and doing No Simple Road full time is going to take something like that going down at work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to make me do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, I decided to put in my 2 weeks like Mel did and like skip off into the distance. It's going to be like, oh, fuck, I had to quit because of this, or I got fired because of this. You know,
no, you can't minimize or flippantly. I didn't just,
no,
that's not how it fucking happened. No,
I was waiting
you're
for the
pushed
retort
to
on
your
this
personal limit, no matter what it is. Your job could fuck you up. Your relationship could be like, that's fucking it. Like, you're pushed to whatever limit. And
that's true.
That's what causes somebody to finally be bold enough to trust themselves instead of a fucking corporation.
Mel was at a bust ass job fucking her body up too. Yeah. That's a gnarly
let's
word.
Be honest, what's the catalyst for you doing that was not something that happened at work. It was a download at a fish show. That was the catalyst to you leaving
if
work.
the show, if the job didn't bother me, it wouldn't have had any impact.
Right. But my point is like, nothing happened at work. For me, I think I've always felt like it's going to take something happening, like what's going on right now.
To me, that's your guys' personalities too. That's why I love you. Mel handles thing. Aaron's a lot like me. We're dudes. It's going to be the same thing, probably, where it's like, fuck this, I fucking quit. Okay. Mel's like, you know what? This ain't what I want to be doing. I'm going to plan this out. I'm going to gracefully leave, have a fucking going away party, make it all cute, and fucking tie it up with a bow like Mel does.
Apple and I are standing on the bridge.
Props on Mel for that. She planned it. Me and Aaron are not those dudes. We're the ones that are going to fucking ride it out and
standing on the bridge
while
we're
for who we
burning
work for until the day comes where it's like, fuck this, I'm fucking done. And then like kick a trash can or something.
And then figure it out and everything will be fine. And you'd be like, why didn't I do this 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I know.
So I want to back up, if we're done with that, I want to back up back to where we were talking about the love from the family at Northwest String Summit, because we all got those beautiful things. But then the one night, I think you guys were walking away. It was Saturday night, and I think we were heading back to camp after all the festivities. And that one group, they're kind of younger, and the one dude just walks by and he's all, fucking Apple, dude, you fucking awesome, man. But because we get those two, and those are some of my favorite. It was after 3 days of partying hard, staying up every night till the sun came up, and we're heading back to camp, and he was the coolest dude. He was just going to say that and keep walking, and I stopped him and was like, what's up, dude? What's up? And I can't remember your name, dude. I know you listen to the show. I remember you very well. You were with your friends, but that meant so much to me, especially like being elevated going back to camp and somebody yells, dude, you're fucking awesome, No Simple Road. And I stopped him and gave him a hug, and for a minute, I hope you hear this, dude. Dope. I know for a moment you were kind of like, oh, I didn't think you were gonna stop me and like talk to me, but I really enjoyed that, and that meant a lot, man. Everything anybody says, whether out of exuberant highness or fucking like just emotional and everything, it means so much when we get that feedback from y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. It's fuel in the tank, man. For those days when, we haven't had a lot of sleep, or there's pressure from the outside world and we have to get shit done. Excuse me. Ugh, that was gross. That's the kind of stuff that I think about, that like, I'm like, we need to sit down and fucking record, because that, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I was just at Summer Meltdown and experienced that, not a lot, but I realized that I always roll deep. I roll deep with these like really strong personalities. It's not just mine. Like when me and you and Apple are together, we're just a certain kind of a vibe. It's even if we're like, I'm talking about Summer Meltdown. Let me just, because it's in my head, I'm like, all these thoughts are trying to like come forward.
Let them in. What's going on, babe? It'll just be nonsense.
I'm pulling out of nowhere, but I was at Summer in the vein of what we were just talking about, getting verbal blessings from the listeners and stuff out there. So it's in that vein. And I'm at Summer Meltdown, and I go to buy this really cute outfit off of a mannequin, and I meet the vendors in there, and the girl's name is Mossy. And I was talking to the guy, and I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. I knew it then, and you know how it is. But anyway, so me and them are kind of talking about the outfit and what shirt would be better and the sizing and all this stuff. And after I buy the outfit, I pay them, and they kind of screwed up on the total. And so I did another transaction, and it was just kind of whatever. So while I was waiting, I was like, hey, here's a sticker. I gave her a sticker, and she's like, wait, you're Mel from No Simple Road? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh my God, Sage totally told me about you guys. Sage are my homies. They're like, she's like, Bodhi Mojo and them guys, Sponge, those are all my homies. Like, we are always hanging out. And are you going to be at Camp Suds? And like, so we just start talking about.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. We're going to be live podcasting at Camp Suds. But like at Summer Meltdown, and you'll hear later on, it was definitely I had to earn every good time that I had there. But that feeling that in a space where, again, it wasn't my literal home. Yes, Pacific Northwest is my home area, but I live in Portland. This is in Washington. Meet this woman who knew who I was, listened to the show, knew about Sage, and it just made me feel so grounded. Like, that's what that feeling of home is. I know a lot of people will say that.
We're home.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm welcomed home everywhere I go.
That was like the Peach.
And I'm grateful.
Peach Festival was a total trip, period. But that was the thing that really blew my lid there was we are 2,000 plus miles from home.
Yeah.
And I felt like I could live there. Like this could be home. Like
same.
I'm
yeah.
here.
Like when we go back to our car, we could just drive to our house there, and that was it.
Yeah, it could be right down the street. And we have people that want to hang out with us, that want us to come over and everything. And that just made me think. And I thought of this when we talked about it before. It's like it's a Metallica lyric.
Where I lay my head.
Yeah, anywhere I roam, where I lay my head is home.
Wow. All right, Mel.
Yeah, it's some powerful shit.
I like
man.
James. I like me some James Hetfield.
Anyway,
back in the Dizzle.
Yeah, it's a trip to do this thing and like see the transitions and the trip that it's been and where we're at now, like as the three of us, but then also like individually where we're all at, and like shit is it's rubber meets the road time. It really feels like that. It's like
does feel like that.
It's fucking on. And
it does feel like
it's been on.
This summer, that's what I was saying at the very beginning of this intro or outro or whatever the fuck this is. Like July,
you don't know what night it is.
Was insane. Think about this. We are on August. It's August 3rd right now. July, we hadn't even gone to Peach. We were at Peach like at the beginning of July. It seems like that was 10 years ago right now.
Yeah, but right before Peach, we were at another festival called Bodhi Mojo Fest.
And Skull and Roses.
Fest. No, well, Skull and Roses was earlier.
Yeah,
it was in April. I'm talking about literally back to back. Bodhi Mojo, we went to that festival and then went home, showered up and did laundry and stuff.
Went
and then
to the East Coast.
Went to the East Coast immediately to wait a week to go do. And then didn't we do something like in between? I feel like we did something in between that week. I don't know that we went somewhere, but
back and had I think we had a week off. We
We had
actually
a
had
week
a
off.
weekend off,
Okay.
and then we got our shit together
Went
and
to Summit.
headed to
Summit.
String Summit and took
Came
our
home from-
entire patio with us and everything. That was
I
the
was home for one
big
day,
thing.
one full day and a half, and then I left again
And then you
For
went to
Meltdown.
Summer Meltdown.
for Meltdown for another 4 days.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride this summer, and I have it's been amazing. Like right in 2020 when COVID happened, this was all the stuff that was getting ready to go down. So it's like the inertia that was then waited and is caught back up to us and then some. And it's just been a wild ride this summer. And you know what? Like
It's
when we were at String Summit on the last day, and I was like fried to the gills, and just it was hot, and laying in the chair and just going, ugh. I still was like, I can't wait for Billy Strings. I can't wait for Goose. I can't wait to go to Dick's. It's amazing to be able to do this and have the opportunity to get to do what we do and to talk to people and to go out and connect with the community and like have these conversations in the lots and at camp, and like, my God, how fucking great, you know? It's the best.
It is the best.
It
I
is
remember
the
just
best.
sitting there in the beginning, and we've said this before too. When you were like, wouldn't it be, me and Aaron are both like, wouldn't it be cool to just be able to go to a show for free? Like be on a guest list would be cool. And that happened to me. And then what we started doing, we started turning that down. It's like, no, we'll pay for
Yeah,
the
I'm
ticket
paying
because
for
we
the
want to
ticket.
yeah.
support
Now
the
we
artists.
reversed it.
And now
We wanted to get in for
well,
free. Now we want to pay.
And now we're going to festivals and getting to be like that made me really proud going to Northwest String Summit and being able to slap a artist staff sticker on my car and be given full access to any. Like, it's funny. We could have gone backstage at any time we
I
wanted
went
I
to.
went back once.
I went back once to check on Lyric, Annabelle's daughter.
I did at the Kinfolk stage to get a hug from Jen Hartswick.
That's the only time
and
I did.
I met Allie for a minute from Yonder. They were hanging out together, and that was to help Jen get a beadwork Jen to get a picture with Jen, and that. But we want to hang out with the people and the artists
and
in the.
That's not. I ain't trying to fucking be backstage at shit. Like,
I don't.
the party's out front. I'm here for that. Like,
I learned this. I think I already knew it, but I really learned this. The party is at wherever I'm at. That's how I feel. When I went back to the camp, I had a freaking blast. I was like dancing, having a great time. Then I go back to the stage. I'm like, yeah, oh my God, look what's happening. Like, I just was in every sense, I was really happy where I was at.
how lucky to be able to.
What were you going to say, Apple?
No, how lucky to be often able to be in a sense of wonder. Some people wait all year to go on a vacation to have one experience on that vacation,
one vacation.
of wonder, of like, we went on a jet ski excursion and it was amazing, and that's it for the year. Think about
work
that.
all hard all the way until the
Yeah,
next.
I never thought
vacation.
about it. I do. I like to see things with fresh eyes, and I don't know if I'm doing it on purpose. It's just how I am. You know what I mean? Like, at one moment, I'm like really enjoying dancing next to Cody and you and enjoying it. And then Tiffany walks up and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that's another thing I can do too.
Just watching bubbles.
That's a dope thing. What I was going to say a minute ago is that's some fucking heavy knowledge from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, really?
It's a way to live your life. Damone, when he's telling the nerdy guy how to live his life, he's like, how can you're like so cool and seem, which he wasn't really in the movie, but he says it. He's like, man, wherever you're at in life, man, wherever you're at is the coolest place to be. You got to be that. You got to harness that. And when you
really
just said
cool.
that, I'm mad because it was. Everything
I
was
just
the
realized
coolest spot
that
wherever you're at.
if you're like counting on other people to make your trip or experience better or happier,
Get let down.
let down, expectations, thumbs down, and it's no one's fault. That's no one's fault. You just got to make sure that if you wanted to have a good time, have it, like make it, create it.
Yeah.
And I did. It was so fun. That little break, like taking Payson back to the camp with Ben and Tiffany, was one of my favorite parts of that summit.
Yeah.
It really was. Like the little branching off with, Cody and Bree, like all of it was just
being an adult
good.
and being able to still have wonder is fucking magic
Yes.
for your head.
There
There was a moment when there was a bubble floating above the crowd.
Oh, those were so
And
beautiful.
During
the
Humphreys.
sound waves were hitting the bubble and splitting it like an amoeba, and then it would come back together. And I was in fucking awe.
Uh-huh.
There could have been a nuclear bomb going off somewhere. I've been like, hang on, I got to watch this bubble. And in the moment, I was like, wow, you're 50 years old and you're still enthralled with a bubble. How lucky. And I even said that to the lady that was standing next to me.
You said that to me at one point. You're like, we're kids, man.
No, I told the lady next to me, I was like, how cool is it to be an adult and still be blown away by bubbles? And she was like, this is the best thing ever.
It is.
Bubbles
That
are
whole
captivating.
floor was sitting there watching them do that and just like staring up, watching them float. And it's amazing when they get a good one that floats up there. The one girl got the one that floated all the way up. That everybody was cheering because that bubble made it through the sound waves, came back together, and went up on the stage and ended up like popping right by Ryan Stasek.
Oh.
And everybody was like, yeah. And I looked at it, I was like, that was like giving birth. Like, and she's like, yes. That was like the perfect baby that completed its mission to go up on stage.
So out of a wild July into August, it ain't over, man.
Can I ask you guys something too?
What?
So we were just talking about like how it was so jam packed with all these like events.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean this like literally, like how do you digest all those I don't want to say incidents, they're not incidents, all those experiences and all of those things that have happened, because we live a very full life, and so we're always exposed to so much. It's not like we come, you work from home, you don't really leave the house and nobody comes over. Like we see a lot of things, and so there's a lot that happens to us.
Right.
And so like there's a lot of experiences to process. When things happen to you, you have to like process them in your brain, and like sometimes you integrate stuff that you learned, or sometimes it makes you emotional or sad or thoughtful or whatever. Like how do you guys process having a month like that with all of this blessings and hecticness and the heat and
I'd say at this point it's still processing it, but one thing I do, it was like kind of an expression of like, well, not my room now. I like having a stark room, but up there, the one night when I was elevated, I was thinking about that. Like my head, the inside is like my room. It's like a dome, and it's just adding more pictures and thoughts, and then you can go back to those, but you got to remember them. You got to like post them and keep, or they get away and stuff. And I'm still processing those moments. And that's what's so dope about this, being able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
And the three of us, because we mentioned things that brings up other thoughts that I remember that now and
Yeah.
stuff. And that's part of processing it for me, is doing this with
Talking
you two,
it out.
Yeah.
doing what we do. It's so dope to be able to have this. I mean, we'd be doing it anyway on the patio or
Yeah.
something, but this cements it.
It
This
does.
is, we're putting it out there. And
I don't know. That's a hard question. Like anytime we take sacrament, you all have traditionally asked me like the next day, so what'd you get out of it
Yeah, I
last
stopped
night?
doing that.
I know.
I haven't done it in a long time.
And I'm like,
yeah, it don't happen the next day.
it don't work like that with me. Like it,
Well, it's a whole other month, and
but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't, that's not how my head works. And like, I don't know how to answer that
okay.
logically.
Next
like,
question.
The other thing it does for me is that's like Patreon. That's like fuel in the tank. That's keeping the tires going and stuff.
Yeah.
Every time we do one of these, that just like, I don't know the word for like reaffirm, whatever. It gives you that motivation and makes us realize what we mean to ourselves and to our listeners and stuff.
And it also like those moments that we were just talking about, like with Gretel and Rob, like those change my direction. Those things, like, it's not something that happens a month later. Like, those things, it's like a course correction almost. Those experiences where it's like an impact.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're going one way, it's like an impact, and now you're going diagonal. So there's like I don't know if there's an integration for that. It's like a slap almost, but in a really beautiful, sweet way. And like, I do notice that, like, when we come back from stuff, that my dream life is off the chains for like maybe a week, where it's like wild Technicolor, crazy.
You too, Apple?
Crazy movies.
It was like that a lot.
But like full blast all night while I'm sleeping for about 4 days after we'll get back from something like that. And I think that's my head's way of like unpacking the experience into me so that it can like digest slowly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Your brain is working in your dream world to help process the emotions or whatever of all those experiences. It's not just the ones like Gretel, it's all of them. It's the having to build up and tear down your camp. Ugh. It's having to, you know, deal with people not showing up when they were supposed to, like all of it, everything.
That's what I meant. Okay, but like that's helping you process that, and all that's coming at you, the Technicolor, everything. It's like fucking and all those little moments. I look at almost kind of like when you see like the people tracking serial killers or something. They have the crazy broom.
The lines.
With just shit everywhere and putting more stuff. Okay, I got to remember this one. Oh, shit, that leads to this one. Remember that guy?
Did you ever see the movie?
It's craziness until you get through it, and, you know, and I don't think all of it ever gets processed because things later.
Oh, no, you forget a
months,
lot.
a year later, you can bring
I'm not
something
under the
up
illusion
and
that
it's like, oh,
we process everything that we live through. That's why our bodies hold shit, or like sometimes we just don't even think about it and never. Yeah, like. So,
did you ever see the movie Dreamcatcher? There's a Stephen King movie about the aliens.
Oh yeah, with the deer.
Yeah,
went out. It was like snowy.
Yes, that's the movie I'm talking about. So there was one of the characters was Jonesy, and a lot of the movie was inside Jonesy's head. He had it was like I don't know, what do you call it? Like a storage unit. It was in his head.
Yeah,
and he was locked in there because the alien had taken over his body.
Yeah,
and he had file cabinets, like ceiling high, rows after row of file cabinets. And it was like, open one, it was like, 12-year-old masturbation fantasies. And he opened that drawer, and it was
and the drawers were, and the drawers were like way longer. And then they,
that is kind of how my head is. There's like
file cabinet
compartments that all this stuff is in. And like, I can unpack them. If I go to it,
I like that. That's a little more tidy. Mine's just like.
Well, my shit's everywhere.
Oh yeah,
you know my shit's.
Your shit's. I can imagine yours kind of like mine, like a collage. I got picture yours like a collage, like
it's
you
beautiful.
do. It's just millions of things, and you get closer and
look at this one. Oh, look at that one.
You know those new NFTs where it's like one picture and then it goes into another. That's definitely like mine. It's like one piece of paper and turns out a beautiful flower, and you turn it to plant, and then you're like, oh, it's a couch. On top of
an anvil,
it's a
school
sweater.
It's a lot of things.
Well, wow. It's a beautiful mind.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mines are cool.
Yeah.
Mines are very cool.
And
what's the happiest thing that happened to you all week, Aaron?
This week?
Yeah. We're on Wednesday.
You came home on Monday. That was the happiest thing that happened to me all week. Like, for real.
Oh,
I'm not just being sweet.
Well, I wasn't trying to be sweet.
Yeah,
I just made that question out of nowhere. What about you, Apple?
Ditto. So he quit moping.
Oh
no!
And fucking moping.
He said that he wasn't moping at all after Apple had already pulled me aside. I'm telling on both of them right now, in front of all you children out there.
Okay. Let me. I'll give him that. I wasn't moping, but he's not right when you're not here. Aaron doesn't do alone well.
Nope.
and he's not good at. The only thing he does alone well that he did, sorry, which is nice to see, is come play the guitar.
Okay.
That gives him relief, and that's something he does alone well, and it gives him satisfaction. But yeah, okay, he wasn't mopey. Darwin was more mopey, but Darwin's always mopey, you know. But my happiest thing this week, I just have to go with today. One of my favorite bud tenders at work, Lady, who is this awesome black girl from South Carolina and just has this personality that just raises the roof anywhere. She came back from a 2-month vacation.
Dang.
Because she got it like
Get
that.
it, Lady.
Yeah.
And she came back today, and it changed work.
Aww.
I was happy going because I knew I was going to see her today and everything. That just happened today. That was my happiest moment this week. Is that because she just raised the roof. I know it's going to be better at work, and we got busier today. It's like she brought a vibe that brought people in, and they're like, "Oh, you're back, Lady." So that was very exciting. Plus, it makes work better when you work with people you freaking
that you enjoy working with,
and that are funny and that get you going and stuff. And
yeah,
I missed her. 2 months is a long time to be away from somebody you really like
that you enjoy being around,
especially at work. It makes work fun.
What about you, Mel?
My happiest thing to happen is I bought myself a banjo-lele at Guitar Center, and it makes me smile even just talking about it.
A banjo-lele. I just like that.
Name?
My banjo-lele's name is Cinderella.
Hell yeah.
And Tiffany really named it for me, but once she said that, I was like, that's the banjo-lele's name. Of course it's Cinderella. She's like, look at it. It looks like a glass slipper, like freaking Cinderella's glass slipper. And she kept on calling it a banjolella at first.
Banjolella.
She's like, why do I keep calling it that? But yesterday, buying that, going to the music store for myself was a really big deal for me yesterday. I went for myself and by myself. And usually it was like for pick up strings for you or take Simon to get something, or it's never been me. And so going in that store for me is like, ugh.
Did you have an intent of buying a banjolele, or you just went to look and then that's what you got?
Okay. Well, when you guys hear the Northwest String Summit, you'll hear the full recap of this. But we spoke with Tom Neckville, who is the creator of Neckville Banjos. And after talking to him, I got so sprung on the banjo.
You need to get a banjo.
I am. And
it suits you. I got that picture of you by chance. Right. I was walking back by and saw you holding it, talking to him, and I was like, that looks right.
So I once I got that, and honestly, usually if it was like a guitarist, I would never ask to hold someone else's guitar. I don't know if that's just like rude, or I would never ask Tom Hamilton to hold. I would not do that.
It's like touching somebody's girlfriend.
Yeah,
or like jumping on a dude's Harley.
Yeah,
just taking off.
But
just do that.
But this one was very special too. It was like tricked out, dude. It was like freaking cosmic,
the fret work,
and that's really what caught me when he came around the corner with that. I was like, holy shit! Like this is like an entity. It was like he had a hot chick on his side, but whatever that it equated to with me, I was like, oh my God, I love this thing. And after talking to him, and he just said a few things during our conversation, and I was like, I'm fucking gonna play the banjo. I'm gonna learn the banjo. And I said it to myself, and I also told Aaron because I wanted to say it. I wanted to be held accountable for it. And then I was like, I want a banjo, but I want that one. And that one's like $5,000. It's like $5,500, which I will say it deserves every penny.
Oh yeah,
I would never try to talk.
It's the banjo that Billy Failing plays.
Yeah, I'll never like. It's like falling in love with, you're 16 years old and you want a Ferrari. Yeah. Like, stop it. You're not going to get a Ferrari.
You're going to get a beat up Volvo first. Yeah. You're going to work your way up.
Exactly. Toner. And so I started to look at, I don't even know how I found out about the banjo-lele. I was researching banjos, and maybe like a banjo ukulele came up, and anyway, in any event, I saw that instrument. I was like, holy shit, that's what I want right now. That I can handle that right now. I feel like I can be a beginner in this banjo-lele, and then I can like transfer my skills and get a banjo and feel good. But I want to learn how to play music first, because I'm not, that isn't me. Like it hasn't been me in the past. It hasn't been me in the past. And so this being at Northwest String Summit really awakened something in me. And that conversation with Tom really awakened something in me. And later on, after like we had that conversation, it was the same day, but like hours later, I went up to him and I was like, Tom, I just want you to know that our conversation really, really impacted me today. And I just want to say thank you for coming over. And like, he basically asked to be interviewed, you know, like he came over and was like, so like, it was, you know, he prompted it, but the conversation and his love for it and the sound of the banjo, I love that sound, that hollow kind of drummy sound with strings. And I didn't realize that that the banjo was the sound that I loved about bluegrass. I didn't realize it because, you know, bluegrass there's such a full sound. It's like
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So like paying attention to one thing, you can do it, but it's not so easy. And so being at the festival and just like hearing, and plus we go to so many shows and stuff like that, I understand the banjo much more, but I didn't put it together that that's what the sound of bluegrass, that's why I love it so much.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And I wanted to be able to make that sound. And then we have the Kitchen Dwellers that did Regulate with the freaking Torin with the freaking banjo. Come on, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, it was very impactful for me. It was like, you can play whatever you want on whatever instrument you want. And then seeing Side Boob, like, it was very empowering. It made me know. And then Cody said something on the way home. This was like sealed it too. He was like, I'm not going to let you forget about it, Hermana. I'm going to hold you accountable. Like you're going to play your banjo. He's like, I'm going to start looking too. And so he kind of like prompted.
He is
this.
the most supportive musical friend on the planet.
He really is. And so I got this beautiful Cinderella, and we've been making music the last day and a half since I've had it.
It's really cute to see you playing.
And I'm excited about it. And
Cinderella,
I love the sound.
the banjolele.
That's right. Would you like to meet Cinderella, my banjolele?
It rolls right off the tongue.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Tastes good in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's all that happened.
Look, summer ain't over.
No.
Sydney's coming in a few days.
Oh,
the baby's coming. Our grandson's coming.
Jazzy.
We're taking them to go see Billy Strings this weekend. It's going to be this weekend?
No, next weekend.
We're taking them to go see.
Yeah, they're not coming until next week.
And it's our son is turning 20. Our baby Simon is going to be turning 20 years old on the 8th. And this is a big deal for Aaron and I and Simon.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't fucking want to talk about it.
Yeah, why not? Babe?
Well, it's gonna be. This will be a topic you will be hearing about all through the holidays because he's moving to Eugene in September.
Nobody wants to talk
towards
about
the end of
that.
September.
Yeah.
He's starting his life.
No, it's the cutest thing in the universe.
I'm so excited.
It really
for him.
is the cutest thing.
So proud.
And I'm self-soothing right now by not talking about it.
Yeah. More to come.
Yeah, it's a thing to unpack. That's definitely integration right there.
They're all sidetracked. My other second favorite thing, so I'm just going to pick a second favorite thing, is when me and Aaron went and watched Darwin on Saturday. I've gone with Aaron a handful of times to do that, and it's comical and funny and fun.
And it's funny what everybody thinks when the two of us walk
two
in
big
somewhere.
bears in Portland with a dog. Like they were a couple.
Like we're a couple with our big hairy dog.
Yeah.
So what?
And we're giggling. It's not no
you
so
are
what.
a couple.
Yeah.
There's
no any what about it. It's just funny. We both giggle at it. It's like, we look like two bears going to wash their dogs. And we roll with it. It's just like,
and you are two bears going.
I guess that's true.
And a third bear washing him. He's the funniest. He loves it so much.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He doesn't like getting in, but he loves it.
They have stairs there. He had no problem.
No.
Yeah, he did it. He did it like that. And
you know how he usually is. I didn't make this up.
Right up.
He was good.
That place is gone.
And it was just fun. We were cracking up the whole time. It's always an experience. You've done it many times. It's so
You're
funny.
soaking wet.
And then he's a different dog afterwards. He's like fancy. He stands taller and he's sheeny, and he like looks at you, and he sits with his paws crossed more.
I do
and
that
like,
when I get out of the shower too, man. I feel a little taller.
Yeah.
All right.
This has
fun.
this has been an unloading. So thanks everybody for listening to
thanks
our
for hanging out.
our stuff.
We are going to be back next week with more stuff and things. And you know what? During the week, smile at a stranger.
Yeah.
And take care of yourself.
Give someone a genuine compliment.
Yeah.
Love one another.
Hug each other.
Who
and
wouldn't
smile.
expect it?
And
yeah, we all see that every day when you're walking by somebody in your head. You're like, that's a dope shirt, or those dope glasses. Spit that out.
Yeah. Well, say it nicely.
yeah,
without
don't spit it on them. That's rude.
Those are nice glasses. Do
I look fucked up?
Oh my God. Fuck you.
All right. We'll see you next week,
one
everybody.
another.
Hydrate. Safety third.
Love yourself.
Sunscreen.
Love you.
Peace.
But it's a burden. Valley needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A=A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Well, hey friends, my name is Zach Lupitin. You may know me from the band Dust Bowl Revival, but I also host a music discovery podcast called The Show on the Road. For the last 5 seasons, I've been able to dive deep and have intimate chats with folks like the Lumineers, Ani DeFranco, Wolfpack, Keb Mo, Lake Street Dive, Bela Fleck, and more. So guess what? After 150 conversations with some of my favorite songwriters from around the world, we are bringing brand new episodes to the Osiris Network. New interviews and intimate acoustic performances will be coming at you this summer. And which episodes are coming next, you ask?
I am Zach Goody, the lead singer for the band Smash Mouth.
Our band is called Milky Chance. We are based in Berlin.
My name is David Shaw. I sing and write songs with my band, The Revivalists.
Trust me, these conversations go some wild places. So subscribe to The Show on the Road on Osiris, and we'll see you soon.